Hi, YouTube. Welcome on in. Hey, we're just doing this little quick bit before we jump into Frieren because we're going to jump into several different content, including rating your drip, rating everything, rating your taste in music, rating your life choices as we proceed on through YouTube. We only have a couple of questions here, so we're just going to jump straight into it. The first question that I got asked by those people on Discord, pancakes or waffles? I'm going to be straight up. I'm a pancake guy. Love waffles. Don't get me wrong. Pancakes, though, you know. Okay, so others can see aspects of a person's identity that the characters themselves are unaware of or in denial about without talking about to them about it. How does that work? Okay, so that's a very, very interesting question before I continue on with that line of work. Right off the bat, one of the big things off of that is we are usually not aware of our own faults. It takes other people to point out our flaws to be able to understand them, which is why when you go to a professional, to a doctor or to a psychologist, our job is from like a third person perspective, looking in, trying to identify what is wrong, right? So oftentimes, a lot of times, like people might be unaware of their own tropes, on their own like issues, and this is why a good therapist, a good psychologist should be able to bring this up as a mirror, as a reflection, and get you to start thinking about, is that your issue? Is that why you're there? So really, really good. Second part says there, I understand that the case of a real person, you can help them figure out their own identity by exploring and listening to them in person, although it's different when you can only observe a character. This raises the question about external versus internal perceptions. Tez, how do you think we know how to work on people? Case studies. A lot of people like to go ahead and shit on like therapists and psychologists and whatnot, literally saying, hey, like there's no way that you can predict characters and whatnot. Like you don't work on fictional people. Do you know what a majority of your master's program before internship and whatnot is? Case studies, case study after 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 case study. Literally everything from like Darth Vader, like, you know, the psychology of Darth Vader, to why, like, you know, why Mace Windu might have had a bit of an inferiority complex and let some of his decision makings from his past affect Luke Skywalker not getting the rank of master, to 101 other aspects out there. It's case study after case study. One of my best friends did a whole case study on like Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and like why he is both like good in the world, but why he's also the main point of evil, which is interesting to go ahead and know. You read people like you read a character. Well, not like you treat people with empathy, and I think that's the number one thing. Psychology books recommendation. Atomic Habits is phenomenal. One of the best psychology books that I ever read was on social psychology, just in terms of like being able to go out and understand social cues and being able to go out and identify patterns in other individuals to be able to talk to them. Fucking phenomenal. Outside of that, a good book that I would recommend is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky and Blind Sight by Peter Watts. Phenomenal books. Phenomenal books. All right, another one. If it's something you can answer, how does supervising other psychologists / therapists work? Are you like a third person in the room evaluating their job? So it's like this. A lot of times, what a lot of people don't know, there's a lot of therapists, if you meet with them one-on-one, they have to report to someone higher. If they're not in their own private practice, they have to go talk to another individual and staff their case. So for example, Senor Pingüino, he's been coming into sessions and he's not been improving. We've had 4 or 5 sessions where everything feels stagnant, and I've tried these approaches. What can I do? It feels like I'm hitting a brick wall, or it feels like maybe he's going to go ahead and like do something else. So my job is to go ahead and, number one, make sure that all the notes are coming in on time, that they're like uploading that. 2, supervise them in the aspects of even coming into session if need be. 3, correct their actions and intervention / modalities. Like, no, maybe you're using this with Senor Pingüino, and Senor Pingüino doesn't like it. So you got to go ahead and like try this other approach and see if you could go in this way. And then number 4, I think one of the biggest ones that people don't know about this, make sure that everyone is up to date in their knowledge. So, i.e., making sure that people aren't just like, you watch anime, you're fucking trash. You play video games, oh, that's what leads to your aggression. No. I'm in charge now of making sure that these people, these therapists, these psychologists are up to date in their literature, that they're able to go ahead and perform. And I also do my own counseling and stuff on the side, you know. So that is my job now as, you know, one of these directors. Why did you decide to study psychology, and why is it so interesting to you? Great question. I decided to study psychology to try and understand myself a little bit better. And I think I might go into this at a later point, talking about like a huge introspective moment for me using psychology, not just myself, but the world and others around me. And it's interesting to me because people follow patterns. And while every situation is different, every person like follows a similar pattern. So it's interesting to be able to understand patterns and see that like different situations can lead to different outcomes, but yet rhythmically patterns and habits can form similarly. Super duper interesting to know. Pollux, thanks so much for the follow. All right, last two. I always see you. This is from Ray. I have always seen you be understanding and accepting of everything. I know that's your job, but like, do you? Or do you not have like a professional line or personal line that you can and can't accept? If you don't, isn't that kind of unhealthy? A good psychologist, a good therapist, you will never see their line. We all have personal things, and I'm going to sort of straight up. When I first joined as a case manager, before I was even like a therapist, before becoming a psychologist, I'm going to be 101% straight up with you. I was thrown into the deep end. I was thrown into working with individuals in the criminal system, right? Some individuals that are, for a lot of people, unredeemable. Hearing their story, hearing about how their family and support system failed them, hearing about like so on and so forth. And you have to be able to go ahead and, number one, understand that humans make mistakes. And number two, be able to go ahead and empathize with that and be able to go ahead and like allow them the opportunity and the room to grow, because guess what? Other people probably don't show them any empathy. And it's up to you to be that change. And I think that's the number one aspect of that. You can't help if you let your bias shows. Right. And sometimes your bias does show, but if your bias does show and it's affecting the therapeutic relationship, you have to excuse yourself out. Like as a therapist or as a psychologist, as a case manager, whatever, you have to excuse yourself out of that therapeutic relationship, because it's only hurting the people. This is and this is why I will always state, like, out there, if you have your bachelor's degree, you're not a therapist, you're not a psychologist, right? You need at least your master's degree, licensure, or even your doctoral degree to become a therapist or a psychologist. Bachelor's individuals, yes, you'll learn the baseline as to what it means to be in the field, right? But you're still not going into practice with, like, you know, what is called like unconditional positive regard. And I think that's the number one thing to get at, is you got to treat people with unconditional positive regard. Last one, favorite and least favorite branch of psychology. I really, really like counseling psychology. I love it. Being able to go ahead and use this to talk to people, right? I really, really dislike dark psychology or like new age psychology, in terms of like people have tried to, and it's not even like a real form of psychology, even hypnosis. I'm not really a big fan of hypnosis, but I'm not really a big fan of people trying to go ahead and like people incorporate like elements of like counseling psychology with elements of like new age shit, and you're like, don't mix the two. This is why people have it like trust issues with elements in psychology, because someone's like, wow, it sounds like you're going through depression. Let me go get my crystals and go around you and make that feel better. Let's do an MBTI test together, and maybe you'll, yeah, exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, holy shit, I think I let enough time pass. Yeah, what's your opinion on philosophy? Ooh, I love philosophy, but very different from psychology. And I think that's something to note. Very, very different from psychology. And it's important to note that one of them ask a lot of questions, like, you know, trying to answer the bigger questions. Why do we exist? What is good? What is bad? I don't care what's good or what's bad. I want your definition as to why you're good or why that's bad. Oof. And they broke to it out crystals. I'd be gone in an instant. Yep. I only like hypnosis in my tags. Okay, this might be dirty birdie me. How many of y'all like the ugly bastard tag? Before, like, I'm quickly just settling down here. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Since we're going with tags, hey Ed, what if someone from work ask you about a rat? Cookie, there are people that have asked me about it. Has this been told you? Has this been told you? And it's like, bro, come on. Honestly, yeah, it's sometimes I get why people like it, but it's not my favorite thing. Don't look at me. Okay. Can't get into the... Okay, you can't get into that. How many of you can get into the NTR tag? Because that's another really popular one. Actually, I was talking to one of my sexologists there at work about NTR and the rise of NTR and how they, like, for them, they're doing a study at the moment about how the rise of NTR might actually be due to the rise of, like, you know, dependence on media figures and parasociality, i.e. you're able to go ahead and distance your feelings and or attachments to a person based on the fact that you might see them as more than just a partner and more like some, like, you know, pedestal work. Essentially, you put someone on a pedestal and they're there, you know. That tag is traumatic. Frieren is about NTR. No. I actively avoid them sometimes. NTR actually repels me like garlic to a vampire. Okay, last question as I take this bite into this booga before it turns cold. How many of you guys are into demihumans or beast people? I feel like I should do I feel like I could get a majority of you guys and actually make a good study out of it before even doing my own actual study into it. Like, are there rules on beast people or demihumans that you're not like, dude, elves are something else, dude. I ain't judging y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Get me a good slime girl. I'm a happy camper. That's all I gotta say. Get me a good succubus. I'm a happy camper, you know. Elves, dark elves. My man. Elves are your thing? I haven't watched Interspecies Reviewer yet. I've been meaning to jump on the Discord and do it, but like, I haven't had fucking time. You guys are literally seeing me like eat and be ready for what's about to come. There's no such thing as a bad demi-human. What about like a spider demi-human, right? Like, or a rat demi-human, just the entire fucking time. Interspecies Reviewers is fun but not stream safe. Oh god. Oh gosh. All right. Do you like the Beast Girls from, where is that from, mate? How human are they? How about like 80% human, 20% like monster? Yeah, what do you guys think of that? Also, YouTube, that goes to you. I think we'll end off the video there. I completely forgot that there was no ending to those questions. The editors are going to have a fun time with that one. 80-20, you'll take that. Oh, there we go. That's a good ratio. I never said where, though. I never said where. Hold on. Guys, I literally appreciate the living heck out of you guys. Thank you guys for being so patient with me today. Especially as I just said, I just got out of work today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I always want to go ahead and prove myself here. Ooh, what is this about? The young adventurer Belgrieve retires to a quieter life after losing his leg to a beast. Wait, that seems kind of wholesome. He rescues an abandoned child to achieve... Ooh, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm learning new fucking anime here. Hold on. Is it good? Oh, here we go. Frieren. There you guys go. You guys are seeing it here, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are seeing it there. We're prepping. The manga is nice. Wholesome. Yeah, it's wholesome. All right. How much do you guys think I'm going to enjoy this anime? By the looks of it, it seems as though this is going to be pretty fucking hype. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, can I get a hell yeah? You guys want to drop some fucking Doritos, ladies and gentlemen? You guys want to drop some fucking Doritos as we're getting ready to go into fucking Frieren, ladies and gentlemen? Do you guys want to... Oh, thanks so much for the gifts and subs. Holy shit. Thanks so much for the 10 gifted. Let's go fucking hype. Drop them Doritos, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Hi, YouTube. Hi, welcome on in. Hey, appreciate you coming in here. In case you guys don't know me, because this might be the first episode up on YouTube. Hi, my name is Ed. I'm a psychologist. And I tend to go ahead and analyze anime. Want to go ahead and clarify this whole point. Yes, this might be a really, really long video, but this is because we take the time to go ahead and analyze everything through the deepest psychological perspective that we can, while also making jokes. I'm sorry, I'm off the fucking clock, dude. I literally just got off of work and like ran over here. So there is going to be some, like, you know, moments and times where we pause. It's not about watching the entire thing, but pausing, talking, analyzing. Come join us on Twitch. We literally will be doing this every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So come and join us, ladies and gentlemen. It is nothing but a blast, and I do hope that you guys take overall this final thing, warning, message, whatever. Everything I say comes from a character analysis perspective. Nothing is about predictions. Nothing is about, oh, he's going to go ahead and predict 1,000. No, I haven't read the light novel, the manga, the whatever, right? I literally just showcased chat. I logged in here. I came on. Nothing's been seen. Nothing's been read. Nothing's been anything like that. We're approaching this one step at a time. It is 4 episodes. We're going to try and get through as many as we can as of right now. And I do want to say I'm really, really excited for it. I've seen people reacting off of it, like on the Discord. You've been like, oh, it's hype. It's whatever. So I'm really, really hyped to go ahead and see it. But with that being said, guys, are you guys ready? We're gonna start off with a little something because I always love finding peer-reviewed paper time. Let's fucking go, guys. All right. So we have, okay, getting into this, yes, we have watched the trailer for Frieren a long time ago. We have not watched the episode. Want to go ahead and clarify that. Starting off with this, I did want to start off with a couple instances of some of the themes that we saw, we saw from that trailer, right? First peer-reviewed paper that I found that I think is enjoyable and something worth talking about is Beyond Death, Inheriting the Past and Giving the Future, Transmitting the Legacy of Oneself. And this is something that I really, really want. Like, I always go into in any show, and I really want to go ahead and bring up and exemplify the aspects of these studies, right? This study explores the phenomena of legacy as a component of the aging experience among, it says women, but it's among other individuals. So one of the biggest things that this can come out off of is, look, here we go. The desire to leave a legacy is manifested in many different ways depending on the individual and culture. While the idea of legacy is often couched in terms of material possessions, it appears that passing on values and beliefs is more important to older adults. So, i.e., passing on your torch. And I think that's one of the biggest aspects, like, to do. So if I were to ask you this, if you were to pass on your legacy, what would you pass on? What would your legacy be, and why is it important for you? Or is it important for you to pass on a legacy of that? All right, number 2. Legacy in palliative care, a legacy that it's lived. This goes over various different, and this is all in CBI peer-reviewed research papers. You guys can go ahead and check out from this. And I do want to go ahead and highlight, guys, it's always available for you guys. This went over like several different studies of individuals that are significantly older in age and palliative care, how they're dying. I think one of the biggest things that like we find through this, let me go all the way down to the conclusion. What I have become to believe is that legacy, the one that lives, refers to life that is witnessed not primarily by others, but the life that primarily witnessed by yourself. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Ah. My corazón. Oh. Oh, I'm gonna need a little bit of monster for that one. That hurt, man. We are never completely alone. Our observing self or ego is in our constant companion, that constant voice, that commentator, judge, critic, witness to our lives. In living a truly authentic life, the only judge or critic who really matters in us is our observing self. Oof. Oof. Next one. Social acceptance of death and its implications for the end-of-life care. Bruh, I wasn't looking. What was that noise? Yeah, it's Frieren and Eminence. All right. You guys heard the social acceptance of death and its implications of end-of-life care. Coming all the way down to conclusion. Regarding death as part of life and thinking about death itself are social coping strategies. Although healthcare professionals occupy a privileged place in the process, the culture of concealment of death influences end-of-life care. So the reason why I highlight all of this, and the reason why we start off with something like this, is as an opportunity to see where these can take us, to put us in the framework as to what may come. From the trailers, from what it observed in the trailer, it looked like time had passed. It looked like there was a lot of things going on. So this is a question that I genuinely want to start off with. And, you know, as I'm going through, I'm going to be taking notes, is what is your legacy? Do you feel, and this is a serious and a genuine question for introspection and maybe even learning. Would you rather be remembered like for the things that people hated you about, or would you rather just be forgotten? What do you prefer and why? There's oftentimes like a lot of, especially as you grow older and especially as you hit your quarter life crisis when you're in your mid-20s, or your midlife crisis, or you know, tri-quarter life crisis, if we're going to be in that matter, where legacy comes up, and it comes up in cycles as to what it means to live in that period of time and what you wish to leave for others. And if you'd rather be forgotten and left to the dust of times, or if you're okay with proceeding as you are. Whoo! I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I just feel like we started off cooking almost immediately, just starting off with a good peer-reviewed section. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. I hope that you guys take something away from those peer-reviewed papers as we jump into this. We always tend to do a little bit of a psychoeducational opportunity right at the beginning before we jump into the main part of that show. And let's go straight into the reaction, shall we? Oh man, I'm excited. I really can't wait to see you. What is this? What is this show truly about? There's no sound. Good. We're okay. I'm gonna back it up. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Yeah, because copyright purposes is a little insane. But I'm gonna be stopping a lot. I'm gonna be stopping and going. I think this music is done on purpose, and I know what you guys are. I know what you guys are gonna say. What the fuck are you talking about? I think this music was actually chosen on purpose. So I'm gonna hear the whole music video, or the whole opening. We're gonna go from the beginning all the way towards the end, and then we're gonna back it up and like do an opening analysis with this, because there's something that strikes me weird right off the bat that I'm like, back it up just a little bit. I think this music was actually done on purpose. I'll be honest. When I saw the trailer for Frieren, I did not imagine this music choice to go along with it. I'm not sure if that's just me, but like in my mind, I was expecting, I don't know, some other style of music to go with it. It's not in a bad way, don't get me wrong. I actually enjoyed the song, but I'm just saying, like, I expected a different theme to go with it, which brought up my first question or my first clue through this, right? A lot of shows don't have matching, which is, let's listen to this. We start off with someone without a lot of color. We start someone off with just bare, like, if we're gonna be realistic, completely, like, how do we call this? Like, just a bare drawing, if we're being in fact, just like a sketch of what someone is, right? As to what someone is out there. But here's my thing: is this Brechtian line art? Yeah, is this Brechtian? And the approach that is being done here, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be completely wrong, is the approach that's being done here is a purposeful mismatch to get you as a viewer to understand that, number one, don't immerse yourself in this show, as in don't become the MC, get something from it. In theater, we have something called Brechtian theater, right? Which is, I might be going down here, right? And might be, you know, say I'm doing Shakespeare and I'm doing the infamous monologue, and all of a sudden I pull out my script and I start reading it like directly towards the audience, or there's music or random things out there that are happening incongruent to the scene that is happening immediately, as a way to remind the audience that they are watching a play and that they're like, you know, that like it's something that they need to go ahead and take away from it, right? And it's interesting. It's interesting that approach. Don't be a cute anime elf. Exactly. Don't be a cute anime elf. I mean, if you do, drop it in the Discord. But no, like legitimately, I think one of the biggest pieces through this is also an evaluation of self. How do you watch anime? And I think this is a big purpose of self. Do you watch anime to get rid of your issues and to just forget about the world and get enthralled into the world that you're watching? Or do you watch it with the intent of maybe feeling something that you're not comfortable feeling yet? Maybe getting tossed with themes like in Moshiko Tensei or ReZero or some of these other shows that bring up themes that might make us uncomfortable and not ready to tackle on yet. What do you gain when you watch a show? And what is the purpose of watching a show? Because at the end of the day, we're literally just watching lines on a screen move. That's, or for entertainment. Everyone has a different purpose, and there's no one that's better than the other, you know? And that's what I want to highlight through this, right? Just like there's emoji reactors and 101 other types of reactors. That's A-okay. We all do it for a different reason. But for this show, it's interesting that they tackled it on this way. It's interesting that they started off with very much just line art. It almost feels avoidant. A couple of weeks ago, I actually had a meeting with one of the most famous doctors here in the United States on trauma. And he specifies in combat veteran trauma. He's been working in psychology in the field of trauma since the 60s. If that gives you any ideas as to why he might be extremely popular in the field of trauma. And one of the big things that he brings up when it comes to PTSD and or forms of trauma is the aspects of avoidance, of cold avoidance, specifically to do with things like that. One of the conversations, because we meet quite regularly, we have long form conversations about pretty much everything from music, because he plays the saxophone and I play the drums, to 101 other aspects out there. Something that he brought up was the aspect, like when he was first doing this research and when research into trauma was still controversial, there seems to be a lot of individuals that, like, when they're being like traumatized, when they've experienced some form of trauma, their past memories tend to go into a bin. And while they may feel what they need to feel, right, or they think that they felt everything they need to feel to heal from whatever trauma may be held in the back, oftentimes you lit it up, like, you know, you put it in a jar, you you lit it and you stuff it somewhere away, and as you're progressing through life and as you feel like you're healing, guess what, that lid starts to open little by little by little, and those memories start coming through. They might not be all at once, but little by little, and all of a sudden you start to feel things. You might have been cold and avoidant and an individual that maybe has saw life as just simple black and white, and all of a sudden, due to growth, due to time being one of the biggest changers of all things, but literally, time is the biggest agent of change for any individual. All of a sudden, you start gaining a little bit more color, and you start seeing a little bit more semblance, and you start feeling all of these things. And all of a sudden, those past memories that maybe you felt were traumatic were actually you holding on to memories of loved ones, or, what you truly cared about, or it could even be yourself. And, trauma and grief can go hand in hand in many ways. But I'm just curious as to where this is going to go, because the way I'm seeing this and the way that I'm interpreting this is not just a hand forward, but it's also the rough lines of drawings in that. Woo! Add in 1 minute. You guys can skip it, I think, or have Crates turn it off. Or it transitions. It transitions into her quite literally laying there, like, still engulfed in that and actually having color. In fact, the color of blue, a color of dormancy. This is, I love openings because they, like, you can go in as in depth as you want and also be wrong. I am wrong a lot, guys. I'm just gonna be straight up about it. I feel like I'm just like overshooting, but that's a-okay. Interesting. Now, is she waking up due to, say, the passage of time, i.e. you go to bed, you wake up, or is she waking up because now she's forced to wake up? There's a difference, and I know it might sound silly, especially to someone on the outside looking in, right? Do you wake up from the passage of time, from experiencing life even? Because sometimes, I hate to put it this way, we go through life covering our eyes and literally stumbling around, even as adults. And it takes a good slap in the face. It takes even situations, some very, very strong situations, to wake us up and make us feel something. That's why, like, I'm asking this is, what made her wake up? What made her open her eyes? What made her experience this world? Or even a better question, if we're gonna go through this, are those her dreams, and is she sleeping? Does she have this memories of what is a sweet dream, or memories as to what she may hold dear? Or are these memories only for her or towards her? Or is these memories of the past or the future? Like, is this something to come? That's where my mind comes in. Is she dreaming of this? And if she is dreaming of this simplistic version of what may have happened and she wakes up, is she disillusioned with the dreams that came? Or the memories that were? Amazing fucking concept. If this is where the show is heading, like, if this is, out of these 19 fucking seconds, if this is where the show is heading, I'm all on board. I'm fucking on board. Choo choo, motherfuckers. Like, like, I'm all on board. Like, that is a fucking, ooh. That is a topic and a half to handle if they if they decide to go this way. Exactly. Choo choo, motherfuckers. Are these the character models? Like, is there 3D rendering, or is it like all 2D or like CGI? Or is this like a statue? We have what looks like a dwarf. I guess the music really throws you off. Because if it's a statue and it's the statue of these individuals, a lot of questions do come to mind from that, right? Like, is this the adventuring party, the main party that we're going to follow throughout this series? Is this talking about their legacy? Or is this just an aspect of these dreams or whatever the sequence this is that the main character is having here? Is this a form of like a legacy that like maybe she's carrying on the will of others? Or maybe like she's passing on her legacy onto others. So many ways we can interpret this. It's just beautiful. Anime is a beautiful medium, guys. I can't. I'm gushing over it because that's, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm just introducing it to a lot of like therapists and psychologists in the field, and it's amazing. Hmm. She's an elf, right? Chat, like the long ears. Is she an elf or is she a half elf? And by the way, if you're on YouTube and you're like, why isn't this edited like any other YouTube reaction video out there? Because this is mostly like we interact on Twitch. This is a full on VOD. There's no time to stop or edit or anything like that. How does time come for her? Like, for an individual like that, and this if I had this person in front of me, like say that I'm like, you know, I'm doing their session, they come in for a session, one of the questions that I would ask them is, how does time feel like for you? Do you enjoy time? Is it moving too quickly or too slowly? Do you feel like you make attachments with people based on the factors of time? How long do you usually get to live? What does it mean to exist in this world? Right? Have you ever encountered any form of discrimination or anything for being an elf? I'd want to learn more about that, of course, right? But the main concept that I'm getting at because of this is in this intro, we're seeing a lot of shadows, and we're seeing shadows of what seems to be a kid, you know, what seems to be like a teenagers, an adult, an old person. It's sort of like the passage of time, and yet she remains unaffected by it. As everything is happening around her in this opening here, I'm going to mute real quick just so you guys can see it as well. Right there. Right. It feels as though like everything's moving. Like if everyone was going Super Saiyan and like, you know, moving really, really quickly or whatnot, like the effects of it or water going through it. And yet she remains still. And she's the only one in color while everyone else is in shadow. Can she grow attachments with others? Or would it hurt? Would it hurt to attach yourself to others if you had infinite life or infinite time? This is something I've always thought about, and you guys can check out ReZero or some of the other videos. I've always brought up concepts of time. And I guess this is one thing I'm writing down as well. What does that do to a person? And what does that do to an individual in their own setting as self? For you, I'm going to give you 500 years, 700 years. Fuck it. Well, 700 and no, 420 years and 69 days to live. There you go. 420 years and 69 days, right? What does that do to you as an individual? And I want you guys to think about this deeply, because this is actually a concept worth tackling. You'll never age. You'll stay the same. Do you feel like making, like, for example, say that you have a partner or your mom or your dad pass away. What then? Or your brother, your sister, your family, they get old and they pass. Their kids get old and pass. Their kids, their great grandkids get old and pass, and you're just still there, and you're not changing. What does that do to you? How can you attach yourself again? Would you be scared to attach yourself again? Would it hurt? Would you disassociate from the pain? That is what I'm wondering. Would you be afraid to genuinely attach yourself onto others again? I'd probably collapse. Dog owner pain. You learn to cope, but I doubt it would be a very pleasant one, because you're just going to repeat the process, you know? Snooze it again, Nick, or get one of the other mods to like stop the ads altogether for this stream. People would feel like pets at that point, I guess. Right? Ragdoll, absolutely. People would probably feel like pets, and people would feel like a burden even, because all of a sudden it's like, why should I get attached to you if time for me goes by like this and 120 years pass by? You're gone. Ooh. One would have to grow cold as a coping mechanism. Well, for example, how many of you fear growing old and being alone? Imagine this, 420 years and 69 days of being alone. Of legitimately never finding, say, the love of your life, a partner, a soulmate, just endlessly being alone. What would that do to you? Yeah, screw that. Like, what would that do to you? That is what I'm bringing up. I'm bringing this up through an attachment perspective as well, because I'm thinking about this and I'm fucking terrified. Time would feel faster. Oh, definitely. I'm sure that like you could probably become the most knowledgeable person in the world, right? You could probably learn so many things like in the process of that time, but what would that do to self? To the self, the you that you are currently? Would you be the same person? Would you be unproductive? Do you feel like you would change? Would you still be the same you that you are today? Probably not. Probably not. That's why I'm looking at this and I'm like, how does time pass for her? And I feel like if they were like, you know what? Time passes by super fucking quickly. For me, I blink my eyes and 300 years pass by. I feel like I would empathize with her. And I feel like if she was very warm, I would try and be like, so then how have you coped with it? If she was very cold, I would then come up with, is this a defense mechanism? Is this wall that I'm feeling here in this session a defense mechanism that you've put up because getting attached to people hurt? And oftentimes, and it doesn't even have to be because of time. I'm using this as a way to reference, like, you know, the grand scale of thing for yourself. Why do you not let people in? Is it because someone has hurt you in the past? Or is it because you've put up a wall yourself and you don't want to let people in? Oh. I think I'd attain wisdom and keep it going for a longer lifespan. You'd eventually just shut down. There's many ways of tackling it. Many ways of tackling it. Her looking through a window outside at what seems to be like two kids. Reminds me of like Master Roshi when he would be like looking at like what was it, like the early Dragon Ball days when Krillin and Goku were fighting one another, training one another, like, well, mortgage, electricity bills. Oh God. Like, what is this? Like, are they friends? Who the fuck knows? I don't know where this is going. But I am curious about like just oh okay yeah they are. Oh 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 OG Dragon Ball watcher, yeah dude, those were the old times. Looking at this though, interesting, interesting, interesting. Before, in this world, there is no color. In this world, these, whatever they might be, situation, scene that is showing, there is no color. With these people, there is no color. Millennial's gonna be the last. Oh, dude, I know. I've been looking at houses and it's a nightmare. With these people, there is no color. Is and yet with whatever this might be, could be time, could just be being out there, could be whatever. She's gaining color. In fact, with these people, there's full color. This is blowing my fucking brain. Is she, and a good attachment therapist will tell you this. Your experiences through life, you tend to color out your life a little bit more based on the experiences with attachments that you share. Your support networks, hanging out with friends, so on and so forth, is extremely important. Being there for others is extremely important. Showing that you love and that you care about them, extremely important. And having individuals that back you up in your lowest of moments is extremely important. And that's why I bring this up. Having people that genuinely want the best for you, that want you to succeed, that like so on and so forth, can start coloring out your life and can start bringing you up to new possibilities. Guys, this is not a replacement for therapy in any way, shape, or form. This is quite literally us just analyzing what's out in front of us. If you are going, and I don't even know what the show is probably going to explore, but say that like you are feeling a little toned down, a little grayed out, a little done with life, or whatever may be going on through your life, please seek out professional mental help in your area. If you need a friend or whatnot, we have the Discord there, and more than happy to talk to all of you guys there, because that's, yeah. I'm looking at this and I'm like, is this going to be like a big push from, say, maybe even like what depression can look like if we're looking at things like that? Right, Lord, exactly. Life tends to have no meaning if it's infinite, right? All right, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We seem to be in a little bit of an ad break. We're gonna take a quick little break. I'm gonna go to the restroom. I gotta go pee, and as soon as we come back, we're continuing on from right here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. Alrighty. Oi. I'm back. You guys are back. Drop some Doritos if you're back. Let's go ahead and continue. We're backing it up just a little bit here. Whoa. That was the shortest ad break. Well, good. That felt like in of itself, it had a lot of just connection and meaning in it, right? Like that was fast the fuck. Did you? I ran to the restroom. Attachment longer than life tends to be less enthusiastic to make social. Absolutely. Well, that's what sort of what we were talking about, Slowman. Like the longer of a life you have, what meaning does that apply? Does the meaning of your life go higher or does it go lower? And do the attachments in that life make your life rating, happiness, whatever, go higher or lower? Or do you even care about connections at that point? That's amazing. I see what you did there. Wait, what did I do? What? But through that, that whatever they were, because it seems to be a big emphasis on them. Him, or was he the first person? I think he was the first person that was reaching out his hand or whatever to her. Is this a bond between them? What we're looking at, a story of memories of a bond shared between them, and whatever that group that looked like 2D 3D sculpture or whatever, that were like going together. Is this based on what they're doing, what they're going to do, what they've done? Like, is this a way of highlighting the way that like memories can even affect? This reminds me of a lot of when I'm teaching, like, in case you guys don't know, I also teach martial arts. I know it may not look like it, but my family has run a dojo for a long, long time, like 2 generations, 3 generations at this point. Um, and one of the biggest things that I've seen, especially as we're training some upcoming like LFC, UFC fighters, people that are going out and just starting off in the field, is fear, and it's fight or flight, and it's instances where anxiety when holding even just throwing a punch or being able to throw a kick or whatnot, the fear of, am I gonna hurt you, or are you gonna hurt me, is this okay? His hand is just shaking, reminded me so much of those training moments of where we might have been, say that like Nick Mayer and I, we're in this together. I'm training Nick, and we've been training nonstop. And I'm like, Nick, this is how you throw a kick. This is how you throw a roundhouse. This is how you get in and like do, say, a flip or flip them or take them into mount or do whatever, right? Um, yes, we might go through training 100% a-okay, but now the time that Nick has to show his skills has come. He is in the cage with a brand new fighter. What happens? Fight or flight. All of a sudden, Nick is shaking in there, but guess what? He's slowly, because of fear is a great indicator for change. And not even fear, but like maybe even moments of anxiety. Being uncomfortable is okay. It's a moment of growth. And him being uncomfortable and taking that first step and being able to let go can allow him the opportunity of all of this growth, you know. People always ask, what is the meaning of life, but never how is the meaning of life. So actually, when I was talking with that doctor with the PTSD background specializations, like my man, okay, I was blown away. I like when I was talking to him, and this might answer a little bit of your question, right, or a little bit of the toxin adrenaline, right? Uh, he was telling me like, oh yeah, like if I was alive in the 60s. He's like, you remember in the 60s when this and this and that, and how there was a doctor, like a neurosurgeon that like split apart the connective tissue in the brain between the right and the left hemisphere. And he's like, I was writing all about like these topics then, because he, like as I said, he wrote a really, really like famous book about like trauma during that time period, which is insane to think about. Needless to say, I was like, I wasn't even, dude. I was born in the '90s. Like, like I wasn't anywhere. He had to give a presentation recently, and he still has pictures. Like he takes pictures, not scans it in, to put on a computer, right, to try and put it into a PDF instead of scanning it in. Sweetest oldest gentleman you've ever seen. Loves the dude, you know. Don't get me wrong, but one thing that he was bringing up is in the aspects of your sympathetic nervous system, in the aspects of just self, right? What is self in this regard? Is stress bad? Is stress bad? or is dealing how to appropriately deal with like being able to appropriately deal with stress the correct way of moving forward. There's a difference between individuals that are traumatized and individuals that are not, right? There's and feeling stressed out or whatnot in a month period or less than a month might not be trauma. It can just be acute stress. But all of a sudden, say you're walking down or whatnot, there's a difference between stress and like trauma, and there's a difference between aspects like that, right? So that's why I bring it up. It's like, is stress bad? Is stress bad for you? When you're really, really stressed out and you have trauma, can your your choo-choo's train blockers come in right in time before you go into full-on fight or flight mode? If you have a panic attack, does it last less than 20 minutes? Because it should. If it's lasting longer than 20 minutes, maybe you should go seek out a professional. And when looking at these shakes, that's one question that's coming into me, which is it stress, is it anxiety, or is it fear? And if so, does this come from a learned response, or does this come from a way of like just completely being out there, or just like completely like, shutting himself down or shutting other aspects of maybe even expectations? She's an elf. I think it's okay if I do this. She's an elf. For free? For free? For free? I didn't even say what for. I didn't even say what for. Y'all deserve all the bogs, guys. Begone tag. What tag? We know it. Oh. This symbolism here. Ah, ah, ah. Gamma. This is fucking, this imagery that nutting. I'm nutting so fucking hard, man. Like, I feel like just watching this, like this imagery in by itself, this last image has just like gotten all over my mind. Like it literally just, yeah, it's amazing. Not like that. It seems as though these are the people that are in the statue, and this is the people that she got like color with. But look at what happens with her. She's a part of both. And in the old, or like the I guess the old, or the black and white versus the color. In the black and white, she's behind them. In the color, she's in front of them. But she is still herself. She is still herself. And she is still there. And it feels like time has passed and these different images or instances of self have transitioned, but yet she is still there to witness. She is still there to bear. Oh, man. Wow. That's beautiful. That is some beautiful, beautiful stuff. Dude, I feel like this anime might break me down. Oh my god. I feel like this anime might literally just fucking break me down at some point. Because if this is if me watching this, if this breaks down the way that I think it's going to break down in terms of some of the themes that it might hit on, which is, say, concepts of time or change or attachments or meaning of life or what does it mean to exist in this world or so on and so forth, I feel like this anime might actually break me down a little bit. And seeing her take this first step, right? Seeing her take this first step uh in this instance, literally seeing like the grandiose aspect of landscape or whatnot that is out there, huge. The older ones move forward, leaving her behind, and the younger ones move backwards because she's leaving them behind. So where does she fit in? And that's the symbolism in that. Like, oh, that is beautiful fucking shit, dude. Oh my god. I'm but I feel like I need the lyrics. I need the lyrics. I need the lyrics. No, we can't do the full music video, whatnot, because Twitch it can't come for us if we do that again. Already missed most of the opening analysis. Oh. At the northernmost end of the continent, I arrived at the place that a people of this world called heaven. How do you say that world? Areola? That's something else. Areoli. Oh my god. That one was on my bad. Ariel. And no. It's heaven for some people. The land where souls rest. Oh, lyrics in your DMs. Thank you. Tis dirty, my friend. Tis a Freudian slip. Right. Tis a tittle see. Little. Yeah. Now now we know where you're looking. Many souls gather there, and I spoke with many friends who once fought alongside me. Flame, the legendary mage. I'll be honest, as I'm reading this, this is actually something that I wonder if some of the other psychologists or innovators or creators or whatnot of the past, like a flam tap, right? Ever felt not fear, like fear of being forgotten or anything like that, but like where's it at? I had a book somewhere close by. It was like literally just like a whole breathing and relaxation, like deep meditation book and whatnot. And are you just does your legacy goes down as just a name on a page, or do people still remember who you are? Like this will forever hopefully be categorized on the interwebs where people can find it and whatnot, whether on Twitch or on YouTube or somewhere out there, and there's some sort of recollection. But for many others, especially in the past, how was that for them? And that's something that, like, as I'm reading this, it's sort of like it hits my heart because I had a professor, and I'll go into it maybe at a later point, where he did phenomenal work, uh, and a lot of people quote a lot of the stuff that he did, but nobody even knows how he looks like. Nobody even knows his, like, what he stood for, what he liked or disliked, what his favorite meal was, what he liked to joke about. And yet people are always quoting aspects of his research, especially in the professional field, when it comes to attachments or when it comes to like specific research. And it's I'm looking at this and I'm like, fuck. Like, imagine meeting someone and their name is like Stone or Iron. Wait, what? This is what I've been like looking for in an anime, man. This is what I've been fucking looking for in an anime. The adventure is done. It looks like the adventure is done. You're heading back. What do you do with your life then? Is your adventure done? Or are you still in the process of achieving whatever grand goals you have? I'm looking at this and I'm like, it feels like we're getting there. Oh man, is this gonna tackle deep themes? Ah. I have goosebumps. I literally have fucking goosebumps, guys. Like, holy shit. I wish I could get closer. What I'm understanding from this is, like, especially as it's going through this, it's like when he's saying, how, like, I can't possibly imagine how long, you know, you might live or whatever. How lonely must that be? The world keeps going, and time keeps changing. And as time changes, time, the greatest agent of change out there. And this is a fear, especially if they're coming back from whatever, that they might be like at this point in time, they might be heroes, they might be in the good side or whatnot. But because of the changes in time, you might be forgotten. You might turn into an enemy. You might turn into 101 like aspects to do that. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, how does time influence this anime? What, like, how does it, like, even just the concept of movement? Because we're already seeing like them bringing up this concept of time in this. So where are they at? I'll bring this up slowly. Where are they at? Where are they at? What is this? They reached the ending. Where are they at? They've reached the ending of their journey. Where are you supposed to be at? Supposedly. According to most hierarchies of needs and whatnot, they've just completed a goal. Where are they at? I mean, they have the respect of others. They have the achievement, right? They have what seems to be confidence. They're probably up here, right? Probably at the aspects of esteem or, working towards something up here. Between the top two. Hold on. Okay. So because you're up here, what does that mean for this team? And this is something that I'm kind of curious about, is individuals that are in self-actualization or near the top have more, as you guys can see, they're already above love and belonging, which is friendships, family, and sexual intimacy. And it makes me wonder, do they have partners? And if so, because there's these kids that are running around, these aspects that are coming in here, do they, considering everything that they must have gone through to get here, to get to this point, is your trauma or is there aspects of trauma because of whatever road that they've gone through? Do they even feel any form of sexuality in that aspects? Is there forms of intimacy, or aside from verbal communication, or maybe even aspects of that? That's a question that's coming in my mind because of what it means to actually go through a journey like that. For example, if you were in ReZero world or whatnot, you're still killing enemies, you're still doing 101 other things, right? ReZero, Moshiko Tensei, whatever isekai, right? Put yourself in those shoes, and it's how much trauma, how much aspects of that does that bring up? And through that, does that form a normal factor of experiencing life? Do you drown yourself in booze instead of experiencing and making, say, other forms of connections or partners or whatnot? Do you find yourself with other individuals? Like, how common is the elf race in this world? How common is what looks to be like the dwarf race in this world? How common is humans in this world? Like, what is the commonality rate of this, and how much importance do they put towards like aspects of intimacy, aspects of sexuality, aspects of connection through that? That is where my mind goes into. It's like this party is here. This party has just gone through 101 aspects. This party has gone through like probably a lot to get to this end. Is that normalized, or does this mark the beginning of the end for this party? Their goal is done. It's time to move. memories, and I'm glad that they're expressing it like this, right? But it feels like it's the finality of this group. How many of you remember the last time that you logged into like your Modern Warfare Halo 2 lobby and said, like, you were talking with your friends and laughing about good times, and then you suddenly, you guys just stopped like showing up, and you log in again and it says like last time seen was like 5 years ago or a year ago or 4 years ago or 10 years ago from any game, and you're like, all you have with you are the memories that are left, and now it's just me. It's these memories, these sharings of memories, and the memories that you hold dear that make your experience in this life unique and beautiful. Don't remind me, Ed. No, I'm saying because I'm reminded of it, and it hurts, and it's something we're thinking about, because like friendships can be beautiful and you can share a lot of amazing adventures and whatnot, but as you grow up, those memories are what you start cherishing a lot more. The Ragnarok inspired. Oh God, oh God! Everyone's all of a sudden in the feel zone. Oh no! But different games. I'm quite lucky in that regard. Well, that's good. That's good. And there's new waves of friends, new waves of memories to make. But for other individuals, it can be quite lonely, and it can be such a lonely road for themselves, right? Where you say, how many of you, if you're not in if you're in college or university, how many of you are still friends with all of your high school friends? And if you're in like much older in the working force, how many of you are still friends with all of your college friends and and high school friends? How do he dream? Thanks so much for the sub. Appreciate it. Lol. Yeah. It becomes less and less, and those memories that you make become more and more and more valuable. And that's why when I'm looking at this, I'm like, I wonder how much meaning this group has for Frieren. I wonder the significance of this group in her life, and I wonder how much this is going to impact her, like going forward. The weight of these memories, and maybe what you should say, what you haven't said. I'll be honest. There was this really really cute girl, and I'm using this as an example. We were friends for a long long time. Uh, this was before I took off to go study abroad and whatnot. And friends with like the friends, we had a bunch of friends. We always hung out. We did a bunch of stuff together. And when I moved abroad, I was like, man, I should have always said this to her. Should have confessed. Should have asked her out on a date or done this or done that. And then they move on. They have a partner, and they tell you, hey, guess what? I actually kind of liked you, but like you never seem to show any interest or anything like that, and it can kind of hurt. And people move on, and those friendships break, and people go on and make their own life, which good on them. Everyone should make their own life and be free and beautiful and do whatever they need to do. But the reason why I'm highlighting this is because sometimes those memories that you make can carry a lot of weight going forward, and sometimes that weight can get to a point where you start reflecting on it, or when you make new friends, you start learning about these memories that you in the moment you were laughing about, but then time went by like that, and all of a sudden you meet with them again, and they're different. They're no longer this little kid that you used to hang out with in high school. They're now a full-on adult with 3 kids, and starting their own life, and it's like, whoa, what happened? Like, holy crap, what happened, And that's why I'm like, ooh, like, whoa. But even then, like in that Discord server, will everyone stay there? And that's a big aspect. Isn't this amazing though? And I think this like it makes me tear up a little bit. Like it really fucking does. Because a lot of people seem to downplay the effect that like when we're with our friends, and this is why I highlight the aspect and the importance of attachment. The world might be doing like the most insane things, but guess what? You could probably still hear and understand your friends. You guys could still be having one of the world's most intimate moments of self-reflection, and the world around you is just partying it up and going fucking wild and laughing, and there might be instruments playing and whatnot, but you and your friends, or you and the people that you attach to, can be off in your own little world sharing this moment. And that background music can be fading, you know, that like the laugh and the guitars and, you know, people talking really loudly and partying and whatnot fades into background noise. And, you know, once that sort of done, everything comes back in, flooding in to the world that you just had there. Concept of time, what is it for her? Oh, that's this show is something we're worth handling, and I I'm really curious. I am really curious. I'll use this. How old is Frieren? How old are the others? It's a fly's entire lifespan. It's literally a week to us. Imagine for her. How old are the others in this world? What do you guys say? I'm guessing that they're probably in young adulthood to adolescence. I'm guessing young adulthood, if anything. Right. Intimacy versus isolation. This is Erickson's developmental theory with relationships. Young adults need to form intimate, loving relationships with other people. Success leads to strong relationships, while failure results in loneliness and isolations. What is the lifespan of an elf? What is the lifespan of an elf? Because I'm wondering, at some point in time, Frieren has to go through some of these basic developmental milestones. Could be different, could be more for elves or less for elves. Who knows? But I do wonder, in this aspect, because of a perception of time and whatnot, is that going to lead to an aspect of loneliness and isolation for them? Or maybe even the next one, which is from middle adulthood, 40 to 65 years old, generative versus stagnation. Adults need to create or nurture things that will outlast them, often by having children or creating a positive change that benefits other people. Success leads to a feeling of usefulness and accomplishment, while failure results in shallow involvement in the world. And then the last one being maturity, ego integrity versus despair. Older adults need to look back on life and feel a sense of fulfillment. Success at this stage leads to feelings of wisdom, while failure results in regret, bitterness, and despair. Are we looking at the bottom three of Erikson's developmental stages? Is this what we're looking at? Because if we are, I'll tell you what, a lot of anime always tends to cover like all the way up to young adulthood, maybe middle adulthood. But for this to actually focus on the bottom ones, holy shit. Holy shit. That is heavy, man. That is... Oof. Wow. Wow. The stages of development are based on human lifespan, which is what I'm basing this off of. Like, these developmental stages are based on like normal human development. That's why I'm saying for elves, would there be more or would there be less, or what does that look like for them? I'm intrigued. I'm enthralled really by this idea. I'm enthralled by where is this going to go for, like what a developmental stage for an elf might look like. Sorry, nerdy as fuck. I know. What a beautiful way of showing time changing. Like that makes me feel like, for me, like even taking a step back while looking this anime and like introspecting in, fuck, dude, we really are just a speck of dust in the world, you know? And I guess our meaning really derives from our experiences and what we're doing to find ourselves and how time can change all of that. Like if I like as a genuine question of reflection, and I guess it's a genuine question that this show might bring up. Have you found yourself? Have you found what makes you happy? For humans with increased longevity, this is based on like, you know, a 90-year, 100-year cycle, you know, School Kong, which it either shortens it or it keeps it the same roughly. But still, for you guys, have you found yourself? Are, like, for example, are you working at a job that you're not happy in? Why? Or do you feel like you want to get a degree in computer science or something like that and you just can't do it or haven't done it yet? Why? Have you found what makes you truly happy in life? Or do you see the years passing you by and you're not able to go ahead and stop it or take that first step in? This anime is beautiful. This anime is doing some amazing things. Do you feel happy in your own body? Do you feel happy with the way that you are, with what you have to offer the world? Do you feel there's so many things out there that we can get into? And this is why I'm highlighting this and I'm bringing this up, which is in this show is bringing it up. Time goes by like this. You blink and time is passing by quickly. Are you making the steps to make your life easier and better? Or are you just letting life take you everywhere and anywhere? Because thinking too hard about it can often get overwhelming and depressing and whatnot. You feel like you're moving towards it. Yeah. Not yet. That is why I'm on a diet. I mean, whatever steps that you're taking, man, whatever that means for you. No one should ever judge you for whatever happiness means for you, you know. A peek into how people's minds work, called out and fun. Seems about right. Well, yeah. Welcome to the Psyculturist stream, Sleuthsburger. But I'm kind of feeling how adults have. And trying to get... Even simple as this. And I use this as a reference of self, as a reference of care, because we've automized so many parts in our life, so many parts in our life that we often forget to take things in as well. Are you breathing manually at this point in time? Are you taking in deep breaths that are completely fulfilling? Or have you automized that because it'll take too much time away from you? Are you, yeah, are you, for example, can you feel that your mouth is maybe a little dry, that you need to hydrate? And are you enjoying every sip of liquid that you're getting and fulfilling your body with that nutrient? Or are you just doing it just to quench a basic thirst because you got to get back to work? Because everything else takes more importance. Are you in your game playing your Apex or Fortnite or Overwatch or whatever you're playing because you feel that takes more priority over, say, your partner that is slowly checking out of your relationship? What are you prioritizing in your life and why? Especially when this time cycle is passing us by so quickly. Have you talked to a therapist about your mental health needs? Have you gone out and seeked out help, especially if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're unsure about yourself and or others? Because time flies and you have the key to your own happiness. You have the key to being able to seek out and plan and do 101 other aspects. That is why I'm bringing this up. Way to go. Frieren got me in a fucking rant 8 minutes in. Ah. Well, we got deadlines in college, so we got to keep going. Are you practicing self-care? The biggest thing in this channel has always been, are you practicing self-care? Oof. She's beautiful. Oh no, she's hot. Oh, 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 my heart. I can't handle this. I can't handle this. Ah, ah. Ed knows what's good. Hey, yo, chill. Nah, brother. We're still on episode one, Sage. Yeah, welcome on in. Wait, wasn't he younger earlier? No way. No way. Wasn't he just younger a little bit ago? 41. He was. Oh my god, how many years have passed? Oh, how many years have passed, dude? I am not okay. I am not okay. Oh, he's probably going to be an old man. And probably like at the, all of your comrades are probably at the end of their days if they have not passed away. And you're still the same as ever. Wee woo! Wee woo, SpongeBob! Wee woo! Pain! Ah! Wow. I didn't know as an older person. I didn't know that like your legs would shrink as an older person. Gravity sucks, but that is a glorious mustache indeed. It's a little mud. What if? Oh my god, dude. What if when there were adventures, my dude tried like, I don't know, like seeing the way that he treats her with such kindness. Yes, there can be kindness. Yes, he can love her as a sister or whatnot. But what if my dude had feelings for her when they were adventuring together, and like she never caught on to those because to her it's just a second in time, and my dude might be over here like, you know, his heart might be in it and like literally showcasing this love as like, I'm here for you, I can protect you, so on and so forth, and no, like nobody took it and time kept going. Oh, I did wonder that too. Yeah. And then you're an adult, you come back, you know, or she comes back. Oh, SP's in the same trade as me. Frieren, but we just met. I'd get the stabby pain if I was her. Would you though? Because what if you don't understand it? Like genuinely understand it. What if for you, because time goes by so quickly, you can't process human emotions correctly, and you have all of these fond memories, but for everyone else, they built this propinquity with you, and say even for others, there's this love for you. Could be sibling love, could be family love, could be 100 other different interpretations as to what love may be. But later on in life, you realize that they actually loved you. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ah. Yeah, she probably only sees him as an acquaintance. Yeah, yeah. Ah. He held on to it for 50 years. He held on to it for 50 years because he hoped that one day you'd be back. He hoped that one day you'd return. He'd hoped that one day, oh, oh, maybe you'd realize, oh, it hit my fucking coconut with this, bro. It hit oof, size hole in our heart. We do. We do. I'm feeling all sorts of emotions with this because like, in case you guys don't know, in therapy, we get a lot of different individuals from all walks of life. And in some cases, I've had individuals who were displaced or maybe they were separated and they've been holding on to this ideal of their partner or their partner coming back, or even I'll share this one story. This guy got early onset dementia, right? And needless to say, his wife was there with him. they she's been taking care of him and so on and so forth for a long time. They really loved one another, and you could tell that early by like their family dynamics, how they cared about one another, so on and so forth. When they were younger, you know, he would do probably anything and everything for her. Like he was working 2 jobs, and like he was like trying to get her through school, and it's like this whole love. It was honestly a very beautiful like situation to go through. But in case you guys don't know, we did end up life counseling as well, and I think it's really really important to talk about when it comes to this, which is as we get closer to the end, and as some of our diseases, Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever may be out there, start affecting the brain more and more and more, you start to lose aspects of yourself and aspects of memory. It's been, for them, like since it started, a wild number of years. My man's at the end of the rope. He's at the end of the line here. Because he's at the end of the line, his wife gets close. Right. They're talking, and she's like, it's okay, and whatnot. And he essentially just gives her something and says, I love you. And she opens, like she sees what he gave her, and she starts to cry. And she starts to tear up and cry and cry and cry and cry. It was a note. It was one of their first notes that they exchanged when they were flirting with one another as like boyfriend and girlfriend when they first met. And he kept it for all that time. And he kept it in pristine shape. And at the end, you know, aside from they're saying their goodbyes and love and whatnot, because it gets pretty bad near the end, you know, of like forgetting who you are and whatnot, he still had like the capacity to take it out and be like, I love you, and do what needed to be done. And that still hurts. That still, yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm looking at this and I'm like, it reminds me of some of those similar stories, and it hurts, man. And I'm like, whoa. My memories of her will fade, her voices, her actions. I might forget them as well, but even then I will remember that I always loved her. Everyone's fucking in the tear realm here with me. Oh, everyone's kind of has the feels here, man. Oh, there you guys go. There's one. And you're already starting to rust. Woo! Boys, this is gonna be one hell of a show. Holy fuck. And this statue's already starting to rust, and this statue's already starting to get dirty, and this statue's already like turning, and will people even remember who you are? Will people just be like, oh, those were the heroes from a long time ago? When you outlive the statue of you, oof, oof, oof. Yeah, that's but the heaviness of this show is beautiful, and it's impactful, and it carries, like, if we're talking about reflection, I think this might be a really good way of like referencing the Brechtian opening, because all of a sudden it's saying, hey, this is a show. This is a show. And it has moments that it reflects onto your life, and you might have to take something away from this. And yeah, critical hit the anime. Is he gonna die? I had to return it to you someday. It makes it seem as though this was his last, like, life purpose to hold on to. I know at some point we all die, we all grow old, we all whatever. But this line, this frame of thinking, I had to return it to you. It's like, this is my last job. I had to give you this one because it's something that my dear friend gave me. That's why I'm like, whoa. But I mean, hey, at least his hair still looks good. No, don't loop it like this. No, no, don't loop it like this. Don't loop it like this. The pain. Oh, that wouldn't even hurt me, dude. Get the old man a damn taxi. Oh, brother. I like, the reason why I'm saying this is like everyone came through together. He already said what his like purpose is or what he was going through, and it's oof. Sometimes, especially in life, like when you've gone through some rough shit, you appreciate these moments, right? These moments of togetherness, of closeness, of doing whatnot. I remember when my grandmother, again, for her, it was in her last days as well, or kind of like last month or so. She was coming in and out as well. She had dementia, and it was rough to say the least, but she always had a favorite pastime. Not something I endorse, of course, but like she loved to go to the casino, right? Don't get me wrong, I don't know why. It was just her go-to thing with my parents and whatnot. And I remember, us just being able to go ahead and take her there and like her having a fucking blast, like legitimately a blast. And like encapsulating all of those moments and going to her favorite restaurant and whatnot, and bringing her back to her house for one last time. And as she was out there, I'm tearing up, dude. I'm like, oof. As like she was out there, like it was turning like dark, right? And she's like, hey, like I might not be here long. It's like she knew. She's like, I might not be here long, but thank you for one last good day. And she's like, I love you guys, even if I'm losing parts of myself. And it like, oof. Yeah, it was rough near the end, man. But that's why I'm saying it's for people, their final destination, their final moments, their final adventures and memories is something worth keeping in close and remembering the good aspects of life and what adventures you took and how you gained and how you traveled and what you've done and so on and so forth. I feel like this show is beautiful in the way that if you allow yourself to be vulnerable and allow yourself to be open to the themes that it's throwing at you, it carries a fucking weight, right? I lost my grandmother to dementia as well. It was really hard to watch. It is for me that those final moments, my mom was always there by her side. Her, on her final days, she was waiting for her son to come through. From from Vegas, essentially. Like that's a 6-hour drive, and she held on all the way through, and she kept mistaking me for somebody else, and as like, and took one of my, it was either myself or one of my brothers as like one of her father figures. And when her son finally got there, she was just really happy, and it was rough. But that's why, like, when I'm highlighting this and when I'm opening up and talking about this, it's as a form of reflection, and it's a form of saying that, like, hey, being vulnerable is okay, and being open to having these tough conversations is okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with going deep and opening up and talking about all of these things, and especially when it comes to an aspect of a show that can bring this stuff up. My grandfather let go after seeing my grandmother arrive in the hospital room one last time. Yeah. For some people, they try and hold on for one, to see a person one last time, and it's oof. Lady, we all grieve differently. We all grieve differently. I hate when people say that. Like when people are like, why aren't you crying enough, or why aren't you feeling sad, or when we all grieve differently, and grief in of itself, especially when unexplored, or maybe she doesn't understand fully what happened or what went through, comes out in different manners and comes out in different ways. And for her it might be a while, and it might take her making new relationships and new like friendships, and maybe like start like literally starting a new legacy or new something before she starts to realize the impact of what her previous relationships might have had on her, the impact of what her previous companions might have had on her. We all go through life differently, and we all experience life and time in a different manner. And that's why I'm like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, I feel like she's an onion, and she has so many layers. And this is someone that probably grows up with like not fully expressing their emotions, but deep down inside they still feel something. They still have a heart. They're still empathetic. And one of the biggest things through that is just to truly get them to open up is layering a foundation of trust and allowing them to start that buffer up. Like, oof. Oof. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. This hurts so much. Good. It should. It should, and it should make you reflect. And it should make you think about our connections, our life, and making memories, and, caring about those around us. Because, fuck, dude. It's a powerful show, and I've already fucking teared up more than enough. Like, cry about an incident 1 or 2 years later when the realization, the processing of emotions set in. Yeah, and I've seen people just tear up about it, right? Like, I saw really, really other family members and tough members that, like, even at the funeral, they like shed a tear or a couple of tears, nothing else. And then years down the line, something happens that reminds them, or maybe they go through a process and they maybe understand their feelings a little bit, memory and better. And all these, like, tears start flowing down. And yeah, we all process grief differently, and it's okay. And I think as a friend, as a genuine friend, it's always okay to be like, hey, how are you feeling? Because you can genuinely feel sad and not show it. Because some of us put on a mask because we feel like showing our true emotions, wearing our hearts on our sleeve, just really, really impacts us. Wow. So here's my thing: losing a loved one, losing a friend, losing someone close to you, can that be traumatic? Is literally going through the grieving process, can that be traumatic? Yeah. Yeah. It's literally like a rupture process, a big rupture process where it affects you internally, where you not being able to go ahead and, fully enjoy life or be there with others, as it can rip us apart and affect us in a multitude of areas, in a multitude of ways. Seeing the way that these relationships are built, it showcases, like, for me at least, the impact of this. And I'll bring this up. I don't think I've ever showcased this before, because it hasn't really been important to talk about. Here we go. This is like a good aspect of the grief wheel. How do we go throughout, like, aspects of it? Some a loss happens of ourselves, of others, of whatnot. We can literally go through this cycle of shock, protest, disorganization, reorganization, and we either recover or we deteriorate. And I think that's why it's important to highlight, because guess what? In shock, denial, outburst, numbness, weight loss, it could be 101 other aspects that lead us to just complete utter shock. Protest, increased shock, preoccupation, so on and so forth, right? Some people, we go through this and we're like, zoom, and we recover quickly. Other people, guess what? We're in the shock stage and we stay in there for a while. We go to the protest stage, we stay in there for a while. And if it takes us a long time and we deteriorate and we go back into the cycle, we need help. And a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people don't see the self-criticism, the guilt, the physical symptoms of difficulty swallowing, breathing, sweating, nausea, so on and so forth, crying, loss of appetite affecting an individual. That's why I bring this up. This grief wheel is important to go ahead and realize and understand its aspects in individuals. All right, guys, we are in a 2-minute break. Hey, I'm quickly going to run to the restroom because it's BP time. I didn't miss much. Coughme, you missed quite a bit. Guys, all right, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I don't see... No, because some of us go through this quickly, Blade. Some of us literally can just run through this, and others literally don't, like, might jump all the way to disorganization, just confusion, and literally try and go through there. Which is an interesting part of this wheel. Like, this is the normal aspects. And then you also have to remember, grieving in general can be shocked a little differently based on also if you're on the spectrum and how you process those emotions as well, which is important to realize. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back. I gotta go to the restroom. Blah 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 blah. Hi everyone, I'm back. All right, where on the wheel of grief do you find most people get stuck on the longest? In my encounter, it's a couple. It is a couple. Disorganization being one of them. Like, I've seen a lot of people get stuck in shock in the denial stage. Like, literally deny. Numbness, not feel anything. I don't feel anything. Someone might have passed away and you don't really feel it. You go through the motions, of course, but you don't feel anything. You're numb, And for certain aspects, like that, I've seen denial and numbness being some of the highest, and then confusion and apathy also being some of the highest as well. For some people, they literally go through all of them, but some of the ones that I've seen is numbness and denial being really, really huge, and confusion or disorganization being huge as well. But no, great question. Really, really great question. So how many episodes? As many as we can, and as long as I have energy, which, by the way, it is my last month of doing this medication, so yay. We're getting there. We're almost done. One more month, guys. Yeah, as many as I can handle. Truly. Yeah, you guys are about to get more Evil Ed coming out. The more I drink, the more Evil Ed comes out, right? Anyway. My dude has a magical beard as well. But also, man, man, yeah. Once you get older, life starts changing, your body starts changing with it, and you can't do everything the same. I do wonder if for her, like, seeing as though everyone else really cared for her and like did these aspects, is she in this role in this future, or who knows what might happen, where she might take on this role of being, you know, the caring one, the wise one, the one that patted her head, the one that was there for her, the one that did so on and so forth, the role of a teacher, of a guider, of, you know, the wise one with the dwarf, or so on and so forth, because it feels as though she is like an individual that is trying and is now trying to go ahead and learn and is trying to go ahead and succeed and envelop herself, right? Because this death was an agent of change for her. Losing someone that she cared about was an agent of change, and that is what makes this show beautiful. That is what makes this fucking powerful. The fact that she's able to go ahead and realize that and then keep going forward. If she keeps coming back to this town every 50 years, I would lose my shit, dude. If she, like, say, like every 50 years she comes to see this meteor shower or whatever, and she comes to this town, and like we see just a deterioration of like that which she knew. Oh man, I'm already, my brain is automatically making a what if scenario. It's already jumping into like, because she lives, you know, for this long or even longer, or however long she's going to do, like what is that gonna do, like to us and to her, seeing this aspect, this location or whatever, maybe even come down to non-existence, or maybe even just slowly start to deteriorate, or maybe aspects, because isn't the statues in this city, what if the statues just start to deteriorate altogether as well, and there's nothing but like nothing there, like oh oh is some of the music sounds like oof, cyberspace. Ah, what a cutie! Ah! Protect! She must be protected! Guys, drop Doritos! Drop Doritos! She must be protected! Ah! Adorable. Adorable. Adorableness. Adorableness. Drop Doritos to protect. I would say drop Senor Pinguino, but we don't have a Senor Pinguino emote. Oh my god, brother. Oh my god. That hair color is the Fate series. Is it I? The fact that like she still talks to him in that same way, in that same ability, in that aspect where life is still the same. Time has changed, but life still remains. That like relationship is still there. I can poke fun at you and laugh at you despite the fact that you're 80 or 90 years old and be like, that's right, old man. Like she's full on like going in deep with this and wow. 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 Seeing her make all of these human connections and explore these emotions and these feelings, I have a feeling that with every passing, it's going to affect her more. And she's going to become more and more human in that way, right? In the way of processing, in the way of genuinely feeling, in the way of genuinely being there. And yeah, like, oh, man, what a fucking show. I had a professor. He reminds me so much of my psychology professor in doing that. During my when I was doing my bachelor's degree, way back when, um, I would often challenge him in a lot of things in my ability to try and learn because I was always really curious and I was always trying to learn more and more and more about psychology. Phenomenal professor, phenomenal individual. He had like as a neuropsychologist, he again very well respected, very well thought out, countless research papers out there in all of his studies, and he was constantly pushing the buttons of trying to get me to learn and understand certain things and look at psychology uh, through a different lens. And one of the biggest things that he threw out there was, throughout like our time together throughout like my bachelor's program and whatnot, I'm gonna give you a task. I'm gonna give you a homework. I want you to answer it like when you think you found it. What is psychology for you? Like, and just in general, what is the purpose of psychology? What is the purpose of psychology? And throughout the entire time, I'm learning all of these different concepts, Maslow's, Gestaltian methods, and exploring and doing so many things. And, at that time, it felt like a silly answer, you know, to be able to learn about myself, right? Or to be able to go ahead and identify mental health disorders or something like that. And it feels like only when I finished when I was in my master's program that I truly understood what psychology was. And I remember this because like it's something I haven't shared like ever, but it affected me because the day I found out like for me what the meaning of being a psychologist is, even in my doctoral program I stated and everyone's like, well, that's like, it's so simple and yet it's so interesting to take through was when I was in my bachelor's, I ended up saying an answer, and he's like, "Well, that's an interesting one," which was like, being able to go ahead and do diagnoses and being able to help people, and I said so many things that like fell along, and like I'm tearing up about it, like that fell along the lines of like what most people think that a psychologist is, right? Um, and even like understanding mental health for yourself, and he was just like, "That's an interesting answer," and he's like, well, why don't you like, as you continue, you let me know. And I remember finally came to the realization and I was like, psychology for me, and I think this was a big aspect in it, is putting myself in it, is allowing others to find themselves. And maybe in the process I may find aspects of myself too. When I realized that the purpose of psychology is not just for understanding yourself like better, but for others to understand their world and themselves in the process, he had passed away. Throughout my entire bachelor's career, my man was struggling with cancer. My man was struggling with cancer and he never once complained in any one of my classes. In fact, he led us on this wild goose chase because for him, this was his ability to ensure that we would keep on searching and searching and trying to come up with an answer and find an answer towards this simple question. What is psychology like for you? What is the true meaning of psychology? And so in the process, he made us into some pretty good therapist or different areas, psychologist or some organizational or wherever they went off to in the field. And I've been in contact with some of my other peers from back then. And it seems as though all of them stuck true because of that question. But interesting how like that line of questioning, that frame of everything led us down that path. So I'm wondering if this is in a similar manner, where he introduces this book. This is part of what I'd like you to decipher, but is there really anything to decipher? I'm wondering because he's already brought up the whole apprentice thing. Is this a goose chase so that you have to take her, so that you can follow a bigger purpose? And that is where I'm seeing this go. I'm seeing my man do his final mission being something of it like this, where yeah, yeah. Has the analysis of anime changed how you feel on aspects of psychology? No, I feel like there's a bigger push for people to be able to go ahead and use anime or video games or anything like light novels or whatever to introspect on themselves. I feel like it's often underrepresented and hated on and, stigmatized by people as like a no go to zone when instead it should be celebrated because people are learning and reflecting upon themselves using this stuff, you know? I feel like he's doing the same thing. I feel very similar in that aspect where it's like a wise man passing down his legacy. That's what I feel like. I feel like this is a man just leading her on a goose chase and at the same time passing down his legacy for her to continue it and for her to actually become like, like learn more or whatnot. Or maybe even in the process teach the kid and learn propinquity and get attached and all of these things. Like that's what I feel this man is doing. I feel like my man is like, to understand human emotions, you have to approach it in that way. Do you feel like at work a work can be poorly written for you not to draw out any character analysis from it? Like if someone didn't understand psychology too well. What do you mean? Like a work can be poorly written for you, like not draw out character analysis from it. Yeah, there's some shows where it's just comedic effect. It's not bad. Like sometimes it's just for entertainment, right? But like shows like this and characters like this, it like I love characters that can draw out emotions and can get us to think deeply and process emotions and genuinely feel what we need to feel. That is a good show for me personally. Also, silly, goofy shit like Gintama and whatnot, good shows as well, you know. But like for like my preference is shows like this. Yes, they're deep. Yes, it's fucking heavy. Yes, it's Shadow Sama, right? So on and so forth. Rag shows that you don't necessarily need to invest a lot into, but you can still get an enjoyment or something out of it. Looking at something like this, though, he's in his later stages of life. He's in his later stages of life. This is probably what he's working towards. Older adults need to look back on life and feel a sense of fulfillment. Looking at this stage leads to a feelings of wisdom, while failure results in regret, bitterness, and despair. Maybe he is fighting this. Maybe he is trying to go ahead and get this to happen because he doesn't want to feel regret. He doesn't want to go with bitterness. He doesn't want to feel despair as his life is ending and he has this kid there with him. That is my thoughts as to why he asked her to, like, if she could be her apprentice or whatever, and her like declining, but still giving the book and her staying there or whatnot will probably lead to them coming together because of propinquity. Propinquity, for those of you that don't know, is essentially how we grow attached to one another over time and why we grow attached to one another. That's what I thought he was going to ask. That's what I thought my man was going to ask. Yeah. Frieren. He got her well, and I don't think she even realizes it. He got her so well, and I don't even think she fully understands. Like, wow. Wow. Little cutie holding onto this big stick. This is episode 1, SB. Little cutie holding onto this big stick. But I think that the semblances of pull, like, cochinos mal pensados, les voy a hablar a sus mamás. Beep, 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 beep. Hi, yeah, Greenpeace mom. Hey, I just want to let you know that like Greenpeace went ahead and dropped I bonk with the big stick on my chat. Can you go ahead and give them a good talking to there? Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I'd appreciate it. I mean, we all for what episode? Beautiful show, all in one bit episode. I mean, if you become a mage and you can hide your presence, couldn't you like distract an enemy like that? Like if you're very good at hiding yourself, couldn't you just be like, "Oh, Monica! Oh, fuck! Oh, Monica, I hit the boom mic and it went fucking flying forward. I'm fucking dying here. I'm gonna go. Oh, fuck. You're the chosen. You're the chosen one, Harry. I made the mic disappear. Ed is definitely not invisible. Ed is a wizard. Oh man, Ivanica, fuck. Oh man, but no, that like that would probably make her completely threatening. Like if we're gonna be realistic about it, holy shit! Like she would just be terrifying. Avada Kedavra destroys setup. No, no, worst wizard ever. What can I say? What can I say? For a human though, wouldn't that be like amazing? Like for like realistically, for a human to be able to go ahead and do this at like such a young age, wouldn't that just push them like past exceptional into the areas of like holy fuck, like you're legendary at that point. Like this is a kid we're talking about that can conceal their presence, that the legendary heroes have kind of said like, hey yo, you know. Propinquity is going to fall into effect here. That little like smile or whatnot, even if she might be like, even if like the power dynamic that is being set is of like master and student or power over versus power under, and maybe even if she doesn't like treat her that well, if she's just like but I'm better or anything like that, that might come off wrong or whatnot. It might just be out of this like propinquity and this parasocial, like not parasocial, this power dynamic that is being set. The reason why I say that is just out of the way that she did not want to take on a mage. I don't see her being very caring and opening and warm. I see her more being cold but an appropriate teacher. Like one of those teachers that like was a little tough on you, but you felt you really grew on in class. That's what I see her being as. Not be able to, but I feel like slowly but surely she'll start to warm up. Also, anybody want a nibble on her ear? But aside from that, what a good goal. What an amazing goal. I have to take down this rock and I have to be able to go and do things. Like, you know, like that's the goal. That's being able to go and do things. And she's already a prodigy at this year. Rudy, Rudy, yes, but bonk. It's not a Freudian slip if I say that. Guys, you want me to say it? You want me to do it again? Hold on. I gotta put it on right. One side's not on right. Here we go. Now we're looking. You want a nibble in your ear? Hey, yo. Yeah, right. But no, that's why I'm highlighting this. I'm highlighting these aspects, and I'm bringing this to light. And I'm like, we're talking about it because I guess for you, and as a moment, at a moment of reflection, is have you ever had a teacher like that for yourself, or a friend that maybe you felt you've grown through the most, or a family member that you felt that approached you and allowed you the opportunity to grow? If so, who was that and why? What did they do that impacted your life? Amazing. Fucking amazing. And I feel like I can't highlight it enough. Just seeing the transformation in the power dynamics there, seeing how she's slowly but surely starting to be more and more confident and opening up and talking in conversational settings, and even just falling for like the tricks that were being set. Like, wow. Fucking wow. Good shit. Is that the end? Wait, I thought this was 90 minutes. Wait a minute. I thought this was 90 minutes. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Who's... They split it into 4 episodes. Western release, it's 4 episodes. Let's talk about it. This has a lot of beautiful imagery. I've even seen life come through in the cycles that it goes through. From dropping a single seed to literally going through the cycles that is life and death and rebirth. And I guess that's an aspect I'll share with you guys, because this is something that a lot of people don't even like touch on, or don't even like open up about, right? Which is, have you gone through a process of death and rebirth for yourself? And if so, what did that look like? What did the aspects or the process of death, dying, and like coming back or rebirth look like? And I don't mean like, oh, like literally, because that's, don't be a weird champ about it. But like, do you ever feel like there were chapters in your life where you had to close out or change, a big aspect of your personality and or self to evolve and grow? There's been a couple for me personally. As I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the elements that were there, it's like that are being presented through this. I'm like seeing the elements of nature at play and seeing the fact that this is a constant cycle in everything, whether it's, trees, fall, summer, whatever that's happening all around us, and seeing the fact that life still comes back up and that everything is resilient if you let it be. Are you resilient? Do you feel you're resilient? Are you taking that first step? And I guess I'll highlight it by saying this: even if you're having a bad time in life and you're here, right now, you're laying in bed and there's like, soda cans everywhere and water bottles everywhere and you just can't get out because you're going through a deep depression. Hey, dude, I'm proud of you. Like, legitimately. If you just graduated recently, because I know a lot of people went through some graduations recently and whatnot, I'm proud of you. You put in a lot of work, and I am proud of you. Legitimately. I don't know you. I may not know you 100% or anything like that. But if it counts worth anything, know that, like, sincerely, there's a random stranger out there on the internet that loves you and is genuinely proud of you. And I'm happy that you're doing things to evolve. Even if you're lying in bed, even if you're covered in sheets watching this on your phone and you're like, you know, you've gone through a rough time, a breakup or something, and you need to feel the feels, and you stumbled upon this channel or this Twitch stream or whatever, and you're like, what is this all about? And you start going through all of this. Know that there's people that care about you. And know that you are loved and you are cared for, and that you have a support network if you need it. You can do amazing things. And I think even just by watching videos like this, it's already the first step. You've already taken the first step in a major moment. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for allowing yourselves to be a part of this stream, a part of this video, a part of this experience. Thank you for, even if you're having a bad day, taking the time to watch this and allowing the process of rebirth. Thank you for allowing yourself and myself to even get to know you a little bit in the comment sections. And thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable, and hopefully giving you the space to be vulnerable as well. I can't say it enough. The process of death and rebirth, as a content creator for myself and as other things, has always been constant. But one thing I can definitely say is just thank you. Really, thank you. It means the world to be able to go ahead and do this and go as in depth as we go for 3 hours, 4 hours, however long we go, or 2.5. I don't know how long this is going to be edited, but it means the world to have people that are interested in stuff like this. So I think that right there, that's a beautiful transition. I know it's only flowers and shit like that, right? Where essentially, even through like the roughness that is nature, even throughout everything that nature can throw at us, we can still find beauty in it, and we can still find meaning to give us purpose in life. And literally be thrown by this wonderful world of colors and life and vibrancy and joy and the experiences that we can give and get out of it. Like, it's a beautiful thing. And that's why I'm like taken back. Wow. Oh, like, my breath has been taken away, and I hope you guys truly get that feeling. Like, oh, but it's too late. It's too late if these were the people that you were thinking. Oh, man, that fucking hurts, man. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, what a phenomenal first episode. I I like it. I really, really do. I think this, for a first episode, it shattered my expectations of it. And I didn't think I was going to get as emotional as I did. And I apologize in advance for getting, too emotional in my feels and, going through this experience and talking about maybe their journeys and psychological aspects of it. But like, man, that shit really, really fucking takes you in hard. And really, like, if you allow yourself the opportunity to feel it, you will feel it. And you will go through this journey. That shit hurted. It's amazing, and it's such a beautiful process to be able to go ahead and take, to partake in and understand and go through. I'm just I don't know, man. I'm really happy with everything, and I hope you guys maybe took something away from the conversations, or maybe even understood something a little bit about grief and trauma and that cycle, and maybe even Erickson's developmental stages, or any of those the concepts that we talk about in here. Wow. Fucking phenomenal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to take like a 3-minute, 4-minute break real quick just to gather up more water, more everything, and get ready for episode number 2, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do episode number 2. Holy bananas, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 1 is Ogre. Episode 1 is Ogre. It's Ogre, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, go heat up your chicken nuggies. Go grab a water. Go grab a snack. Go grab whatever you guys need. We're about to start episode number 2, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate y'all. I'll be right back, guys. Be right back. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, SP, do you want to get on here? SP, would you like to have a discussion of at least episode 1? Because that should go in episode 1. SP, right. Bing bong. Hold on. I'm getting... SP! All right, hold on. You have been summoned. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put you main screen here. Bop. Bop. They're like, all right, 3-hour discussion incoming. Wait, hold on. I gotta put you right. Gotta make you sexy here. Hold on. You're always sexy, but oof. Why is it not getting it? What is going on here? Here we go. There we go. Sexy man. Say something.
There we go.
Alrighty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, I think I should probably say this to YouTube because they probably don't know what's going on here, especially if when this part gets edited in. Hi, YouTube. In case you guys don't know, this is part 3. There's 3 parts to every video. Part 3 is a discussion element. And we have the famous, my brother from another mother, the beautiful, the sexy, look at that beard, the individual with the smile that can crack your mama's back. SP, dude, I love you. Okay, how was that first episode for you?
I didn't realize you were actually still on the first episode. I was like, holy moly, because, yeah, the first episode's really quite heartwarming. It really sets up the stage as well for, like, the characters kind of aging. And it's just one of those things that I was like... Because I've seen a lot of people compare it. It's like Mushoku Tensei. That's what some people are saying. And I can understand that, but I think some people are forgetting why people see it like Mushoku Tensei. It's the characters, it's the world building, it's the impact of memories and growth. And I think that's something that I thought was really interesting about this main protagonist, Elf, is that she kind of sees time very differently. Right. I kind of saw it as like the analogy of like, what if there was a circus every day that you could go to? You'd go to it once, but then you'd lose all care about the circus because you could go every day, and it'd be like, oh, well, I can go next week or the week after or the week after. But if it's something that happens every 10 or 20 years, that moment is far more magical. And it kind of is very similar to the meteor shower where it's every 50 years. So for a human, it's a once a lifetime event. For her, it's like, it's in another 50 years, I'll go see it then, because her lifespan is so much longer. Those moments don't feel as meaningful to her. So right. She kind of just brushes them off and comes off very cold and calculated, while the humans become much more attached to their memories, those moments. And so every moment they spend with her meant something to her, while every moment that she spent with them kind of just felt like, nah, just like a fleeting moment. It felt very nonchalant, and I just thought it was very interesting seeing how that impacted her and her realization that time is very fragile to them, and now those moments that she could have had with them have passed on, and some of those colleagues have passed on. And the impact from that was just very heartwarming, and I noticed it got you emotional as well, which I thought was really good.
Man, yeah. Going through this, I'm like seeing the way that they actually built up the characters, and that we're not in they're gonna go fight the demon lord and like, you know, the standard typical like fantasy story that we get, that we're at the end. They're at the very end. Mm-hmm. Their journey has just ended, and now it's, what do we do then? Seeing the fact that their relationship and their bond has already been established, and we're seeing just age, if we're being honest, the biggest enemy of all, time, happen, and there's nothing that you can do to stop time. It's just going to keep going. And I'm not sure, like, have you lost any friends recently, especially as you've gotten like older, like due to anything really?
Um, More so family, not so much any like friends, because most of my friends are around the same age bracket or a little bit older, a little bit younger. So as far as close friends go, no, but as far as family go, yeah. And even especially with family, there's some that have gotten much older and passed on, while some have died much younger. So it's one of those where it's like it can be like any moment can be your last, and enjoying those moments is really important and not wasting them. But yeah, it's one of those where I also thought with her, even with her age, you'd think as she gets older, yes, she's much more knowledgeable with magic and everything as she's learning magic, but her wisdom doesn't follow Rivet as well. It seems to be because of her age, she's kind of thrown a lot of those wisdoms that she could have learned away because it came with the memories as well. So there's some interesting life lessons I feel like are in the anime, and a lot of interesting things that you can like reflect on as a character and the world itself. And the art itself is just beautiful.
The music, man, that like the OST or everything, man, you can feel it. Like you can feel that there's a lot of passion behind this project. And I mean, for me, it's like I'm going through and I'm over here like writing up like legacy and like all of these concepts. And I guess I gotta ask you this question, which is, and it is a bonkable question. I know it is. I'm already knowing that chat's gonna be like, "Hey, yo, bonk." Um, Seeing that like they age differently, do you think that like say even their reproduction style or like their ability to go out and find a mate would be differ because of that, because they age at a different time period? Because I wrote down literally elf and then like children chat in case you guys are wondering. I'm not sure if it's going to show up
Ask
yet.
me the question after episode 2 again.
Oh no. Does it get explored?
Not super heaps, but it is a point that I kind of wondered on when I was watching the 4 episodes. I'm not going to spoil anything, but
Sure.
there was, when you brought it up, even you brought it up even at episode 1, but I thought about it even more as the episodes came out, that maybe one of the members had feelings for her, and because of how she saw time itself, her feelings were just nonchalant. Like she just didn't have any attachments to them. So because she didn't have any attachments, there was no building of any emotions beyond just, oh, they're my colleagues kind of thing. So there was no romance to build on. But for them, I do wonder if one of the members did have a little bit of a crush on her. That's at least my theory, based on just some of the observations through it. And I was just like, yeah, one of the people in the chat was like, I mean, it's obvious. And I was like, yeah, I kind of felt like that. Episode 2, it shows a funny scene that's really funny, but it also sat there and made me wonder if he actually had a crush on her, and that added into the fuel from the first episode, that one of them, I think, liked her, but she just didn't have those feelings back. And I think maybe in the future episodes it might explore even further of that regret that she didn't have the opportunity to build more connections with those other people, and that because of that she's learned that instead of wasting away those moments, spend more time building on those. Like the new friends that she makes now, she's going to learn from her past friends. Don't let those fleeting moments disappear. Treasure them, cherish them, build upon them, learn about the people around you, learn about what their quirks are, what they like, what they dislike. And that is something that the episodes do bring up as well, is that idea of like, they knew a lot about her, she didn't know anything about them.
Right.
And that's a regret I think is really deep embedded. And that's why I really love the anime, because I don't want to spoil the next 3 episodes, but it's like the whole theme for the 4 episodes is a sense of regret because of the fact that she never spent time getting to know the people that were close to her. And I think that's a big thing that I think really gets explored piece by piece throughout the episodes. There's also that little clip that I sent you as well that's, I'm not 100% sure where it is, because Crunchyroll apparently skipped it, but I think it's like mini ending. Watch it after episode 2, because it has a couple of little spoiler things in there. But it's really nice. And I think the music fits it as well, because it kind of fits that kind of calm, tranquil, day-to-day adventure as well.
Right. But okay, I guess I'm gonna bring in other questions for you. Are there, because they took down the Demon King, right? And this is how peace came. They started their peace years. So is there a demon race?
I would assume yes, based on what I've seen already, just from my observation. But I also think, and this is just going from the opening song, that there's another elf in the opening song where it showed her and she kind of looked a little bit more evil. And I wondered if there's like other elves out there that are not so good. I think chat's saying yes, there are. So, but I kind of wondered, and that's when I saw the opening song with the elf, and she kind of looked much more eviler. And I kind of saying myself saying, but I wondered if the concept of as time is a passage, does it sometimes make you so disconnected from reality it can make you very cold to the point where you don't care about anything and you can become very evil, malicious, arrogant, self-absorbed, because humans, they're just so fleeting, their moments don't mean anything to them. And I wonder if that depiction of that elf is something that has come over time, that they've become very evil and cold and just don't care, and because of that they've become maybe a villain. It's just a theory based on the actual opening, which then also leads to the idea that the demon race and maybe they might be a part of it.
Well, I was going to highlight, it's the elf with the feet, right? That, like, you know, showcase their feet for free in the opening. Because if it's that one, then I'm gonna be like, you know what? Then it's interesting. Like, it's interesting that they showcased it like this, where Frieren, you know, after the passing of Himmel, says, "I want to understand humans more." But there's always choices, and I think this is what it's exemplifying. There's always choices in our life, and sometimes in those choices we can grow to connect with others, or maybe we learn to isolate. And it's like that, like our patterns of thinking is, are we going to be more open and accepting to the connections that we make with others, or are we going to isolate ourselves and hurt others in the process? That might be a good way of like referencing maybe the dark elf or whatnot that may come.
I do wonder that. It's just, it was so good. And especially the old geezer, the corrupt priest. I love him. It's something about him. There's like a fun quirk to him. And he's much more clever than he seems.
Oh yeah.
For how corrupt apparently he is. He's a bit of a cooker. But I think that's the thing that kind of dawns on her, is that she went away for all those years, comes back, and then realizes they've all aged. And that's that realization. And she's very cold about it as well. Like, she's like, "Oh, I've come to see you before you die," basically. It's like so cold the way she just sees it. It's like, well, your life's so fleeting. And I think that's that realization as people start passing and she's losing the people that are close to her. Those connections are really starting to sting, because she wished like she did more in those periods when she had. It's very interesting. I mean, I remember when I saw the synopsis for it, people bringing up like the whole journey of time and how all her friends pass on. I didn't think they'd actually have it in the episodes itself. I thought it would be like a passing memory in her own state. But seeing it play out, it is quite heavy hitting. It didn't make me cry, but it really made me feel quite sympathetic to the pain that she's going through and the development as well.
So I guess through this, they're asking, how much of the manga have you read? Is what chat's. Yeah, SP's going in blind with me, boys. So I guess my question is, because this show is touching on a big theme of legacy. SP, for yourself, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think I would like my legacy to be something people remember me for, the accomplishments that I've achieved, the great deeds. And I feel like that's something that I think most people want to achieve.
Sure.
Because I feel like the concept of immortality is something that's been thrown around for many years. And it's like a Greek terminology as well. Like warriors, they go, we're going to go to the heavens and we will be immortal through memory. And I think that's something that I kind of want, is that immortality in the sense of being remembered by the past generations of someone that's done something good.
Right. Well, I mean, in psychology, we have a whole field for this, which is like terror management theory. How our end, our legacy, our, you know, finality of life, like really motivates a lot of our action to try and accomplish certain things or try and do certain things, and whether or not we feel worthy of even being remembered. Like, for example, for you, SB, since you know you're a very like well-known content creator and all of these things, how, like, I'm sure even past our lifetime, there might be someone that stumbles on a video of Overlord or Moshiko Tensei or something like that, and maybe they'll get a glimpse of you through that. What is that for you, knowing that like your videos in a way are immortalized?
I mean, that's something that I do find interesting, especially with digital technology, is that a lot of us are becoming immortalized because we'll be remembered from our history. And you never know, maybe in 30 years' time, someone does a multi-part analysis of my videos and how I broke them down and the journey that I went through. I mean, that kind of stuff happens now already for many content creators. Maybe one will be done on me as my journey, but I feel like my journey is still very much in the infancy stage. And I feel like I've still got much to do and grow as a content creator. And I'm very interested to see what that looks like and how people see that in the future, especially if, say, like, you know, 10 years in the future that I, you know, retire as a content creator, but people still consume that content and look at some of the things that are put out there. Because I always want my content, especially the analysis content, to be seen as something that I pour my own wisdom into, my own thoughts, like thought experiments, my own experiences, the things that I've learned in life, and try and put them into the videos as part of the journey of me watching anime like Mushoku Tensei. Even though, yes, I bring up all the things that happen in the show, but I also put in my own knowledge and understanding of what human behavior is like as lessons that I've learned to pass on to others. It's kind of like that, to me, is a legacy, is passing on your knowledge to someone else and then them learning from that and building on that as well, and then them passing that on as well. And it's a constant compounding effect. It's like, you know, stock investments. It's like you're putting a dividend in it. You're building that knowledge and wisdom as time goes on. And I hope that's something that is built on with my content as well. And I think it's something that's explored in the anime as well, as her wisdom started off very slow and it's been very gradual for her. But as she's learnt from others as they've passed on and got older, she's learning from some of the things that maybe she should have learned sooner.
Right. For, I guess, putting myself in that shoe and asking that same question. Nothing happened, Chad. Nothing happened. And asking myself those same questions, I'm like, because for me, it's always been a similar concept of like, this is, and I think this is why I'll highlight it here. This is why I don't have a Patreon, right? Like, I love all the other YouTubers or whatnot that do, but like specifically when it comes to like, you know, I do analysis. Yes, there might be elements of emoji reacting from time to time, especially because it made me fucking cry. Like, I was full on bawling for a bit there, SB. Like, this episode, I was just full on in my feels. But like, the main purpose of the content here, and I think this is like, if anything, the way that I would want to be immortalized in some way, is that like, even in the future, it's never been about the money. I don't care about money. There are people out there who will charge $1 to be on their Discord, and then charge $5 to be on their, like, or $10 to be on their Patreon to get a edited emoji react, and then $20 if you want to get the video early, or so on and so forth. Like, there are a lot of people that put stuff behind paywalls. I don't mind that. There's also Eris right there, which is fantastic.
Chat keeps talking about it.
Oh, I know, it's beautiful.
So I'll show it while Ed's talking.
But yeah, through that, like, that's why I'm bringing this up. Like, for me, it's always been about using this, because mental health is still not readily available for everyone, and there's a lot of communities out there who can't even find a therapist, who can't find a doctor, who can't find anything to do with mental health. There are a lot of cultures out there that still shun it. A lot of families who still bring out a lot of negativity for talking about mental health, which is why I hope that with the content, not to be anyone's therapist or psychologist. No, I love y'all, but there needs to be that distance. But like, for you to be able to find that within yourself, maybe the purpose of understanding yourself a little bit better, or maybe for people to be able to go ahead and like start looking for mental health care or somewhere in the community. That's been my goal this whole time, and it'll always be, you know. Sorry, that was a long-winded rant.
No, I was just showing the figure while everyone was asking and you were talking, because it's something that I feel like mental health is something that gets shunned, it gets ignored, and it's something that I noticed with Mushoku Tensei, and I hope it's something that's further explored. And I think it's really good to see actual content creators that are psychologists like yourself bringing these kind of things up and using anime as a medium to explore psychology and to teach people about it, because I see so many people do shun that whole idea of, oh, well, anime characters aren't realistic. Why are you using psychology? Anime characters are made by humans, so of course they're going to have human elements in them because they're created in our own images. But I think it's important to use different mediums to allow people to explore things. Like you can use games, so gamers get that opportunity to see, you know, the psychological breakdown of characters. You've got light novels, mangas, animes, and I think that is a good way to help educate people more on psychology and just the human experience and our life itself, and how we grow and build, and we are flawed as people. And I think it enlightens people on, if you see something going on with someone that's going through hard times, and having that knowledge that you could have learned from these content creators that are teaching people about psychology, that knowledge can then be used for good to help those close to you. And I think that's why it's really amazing to see what you're doing online.
Well, thank you. I was going to say, it's always funny because it seems as though individuals are always like, man, whenever I go to your like, you know, to your stream and you and SP are on, you guys get deep and keep going deeper and deeper and explore different questions and avenues. And it's like, that's the point, is where we're going to explore everything, every nook and cranny that we can. So I guess I'll follow up with this. Did this episode meet your expectations as to what the show was going to be?
I forgot the question. I was like pondering, and then I forgot what the question was. What was it again?
Did this episode meet your expectations as to what this show would be about?
I actually think it exceeded my expectations, because I guess I went into it blind and I knew the basic concept of it, but I didn't think it would explore so many interesting topics. And I did wonder, as I was like writing down notes and I was thinking about things, I was like, is this Ed's doing on me? I was like, is Ed making me think really deep psychologically about these characters? And I was kind of like, I always kind of did, but I think your wisdom and knowledge has helped me explore even further again. It's not that I wasn't ever doing it, it's just allowed me to dig even deeper. And it's made me ask questions and wonder things much more about, like, the meaning of what do memories mean to someone. And I think that's what made me really surprised by just how well this anime went so deep. Because I feel like some people were like criticizing it for being like, oh, well, it didn't make me cry. It didn't make me like really emotional. But I was like, to me, it made me sympathize. It didn't make me cry, but it made me sympathize with the character and understand how they felt and the regrets that they have vested inside of them and why they wanted to correct those mistakes. And just seeing those future episodes is quite eye-opening, what they've learnt from it and how they're going to go about that to correct those mistakes, and the connections they're now building with other people. And even in the opening song, there's a couple of characters that haven't been introduced yet that seem to be kind of part of her adventure little mini team. And I think seeing her make new friends in a much more younger demographic, like younger teens that are kind of growing up to be adventurers, I'm curious to see how she takes those lessons. What kind of bonding does she have, like the meaningful relationships? Because the funny thing is that she just feels like a young little toddler, even though she's much, much older.
Right.
I think that's what it kind of made me think. It's like, age doesn't equal wisdom. I think experiences and what you learn from the experiences is what equals wisdom. And if you can go through heaps of experiences but learn nothing from it, but you could be someone very young and go through many experiences and learn so much and be at a young age and be very wise, but then someone at an older age can be very unwise. And that's a thing that also reflects on Mushoku Tensei as well, is that Rudy might be much older mentally in some people's eyes, but as far as wisdom and aging, he's just a stump. He's just never grown beyond a point and is
Right.
kind of shriveled up. And I think that's some of the similarities that I see in the two animes, is that to me the anime isn't about individual characters, but the world, the characters, the interactions, the world building and the atmosphere and how it all intertwines together. So it far did exceed my expectations in what I was going in for blind.
I mean, for this first episode, I didn't expect the fucking field strain. I didn't expect to be like tearing up like twice or three times throughout the show, but at the same time, I don't know. One thing that stood out to me about this particular show is when it comes down to it, your experiences and how open you are as an individual to whatever you felt, especially if you've gone through some major stuff and you were with your friends one last time or with a family member or whatever, and you still remember those memories or you carry them deep with you. This show might hit with you on a different level, and this show might really take you on a journey. And I think that's something worth acknowledging, because there seems to be a lot of people that feel like they're immediately like, I want to feel something, and it's always like high school relationships. Like I want to be broken up by this high school girl that can go invisible while wearing a bunny girl suit or something, something ridiculous. And they're like, I've never cried as much as that show. And it's like, but how realistic is that in an element? Like, we all get broken up with, sure. We all go through struggles in life with relationships with friends, sure. But this is one of those themes where it's like it's a fundamental loss of memories, of a life, of loved ones, and even of self. And I think that's sort of what like sticks out to me.
I'm going to ask a question, and it's going to be something that we're both going to ponder on. I wonder if she will find love.
Interesting question. And I guess I'll double up with you, which is, do you think that maybe she's going to realize that she lost a time period to love? It needs to heal from that.
That is something I do wonder as well, is that if one of those members of her party did fall in love with her, and the regret of not being able to spend that time with him and be able to build on that moment. I love the question. Has the spiritual read the source material for this series? I think maybe I'm doing a you and wizarding a little bit too hard on these ideas.
You're going a little hard here.
I wonder it, because it was just something that stuck out to me, is that one of the members clearly had feelings for her. She didn't realize it. And I wonder if she'll discover that, have to reflect on that, mourn that loss of not just a friend, but also that potential of finding love, and then also explore love, and then find someone else that she can also love. And I just wonder if that's what possibly part of the journey is about.
Here's my next question for you, and this might be really fucking silly, I know, because Bonfire brought up a great question, which he was like, "What is love, Ed?" But then I'll double down with this: do you think that she loves herself?
I don't think she hates herself, but I don't think she loves herself either. I think it's hard to word, because I don't think she can really feel like she hasn't explored what love is. And so because she hasn't explored it, because the whole concept of love is meaningless, because life is so long for her, it's one of those, it's like, well, I'll just kick it down the road. I'll think about it another time. And I just wonder if that's going to be what kickstarts it, that she's going to mourn the loss of love, find new love, but also at that same time, all in between that, now you're making me wonder, that is that she will also learn to love herself as well, which will allow her to love someone else at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, love can come in many different ways as well. It's like companionship, like the closeness in itself, not just like getting it on, getting the dirty, or kissing or whatever, but it could mean something truly meaningful in bonding and confiding and companionship and camaraderie, if I say that right, but also possibly the idea of her finding someone that she does truly love and want to be with. But then I also wonder if it's another human, is she also going to then mourn a second loss of outliving that person as well?
But through that, wouldn't that be like the semblance of the show in of itself, right? Which is learning about humans, because that is her end all be all goal. and appreciating the time. Like if we're gonna wrap this up like a hero's journey, where you know she really didn't know how to appreciate humans, right, or know what time is or whatever, like making memories or whatever, all the way down to a full circle, which is what if she does fall in love and that person passes away, but this time she's content, this time she's okay with it because now she's gone through a full cycle and she's loved this individual for who they truly are.
I think she'll still mourn them, but I think she'll be
Right.
much more content. She'll feel more fulfilled at the same time. She'll mourn them, but not feel empty like I think she feels right now, where she's mourning and feels empty because she didn't use those moments to build proper memories that she can latch onto. They have memories that they've got of her, but she doesn't have of them. And I think that's where she feels disconnected from reality and she's feeling more disjointed. And someone did bring up a point of, but she loves magic. And I think, yeah, I think she can still sort of love things, but I think that's more of like, it's an itch for her. It's her curiosity of learning new things.
So,
but I just don't think she's learned to love others and herself.
question for you, since you're on episode 4, unless this is like a major spoiler, what do elves think of love or represent, or even like sex in general? Do you know?
It hasn't explored that, but I do think it will, because I think, as I mentioned with the opening song, that the elf that looked quite evil, I wonder if it's going to explore the ideas of how time affects other elves as well, and how it can maybe make someone very disconnected, cold, and calculated, adventuring like the way she has, and then her having to learn from that, or it can make someone so disconnected they just become self-absorbed in their own bubble of narcissism.
So something that I'm wondering is, you know, as human beings, even as little kids start messing around with the concepts of love, or like it doesn't even have to be romantic love, but like you know, it could be like, oh, let me hold your hand, like togetherness, of closeness and aspects like this from a young age. You know, it's something that starts off developmentally. And now that I'm thinking about it, we haven't seen that from Frieren, and that's highlighting something for me that I'm wondering if for culture, maybe like that's not a priority, maybe that's not like, you know, or race or whatever, maybe that's not like highlighted, maybe it's rare for love or sex or aspects of togetherness to even be in that moment. Because as human beings, a lot of us play with friends and we get into this togetherness because that's how we make experiences. She has a group of people that she's been traveling with, she experiences that, and all of a sudden she starts regretting them passing away. So I'm like, is this an infantile or maybe a developmentally delayed individual who has been shunned or maybe not been exposed properly to these concepts? Sorry, that's a very loaded question.
It is, and I think it might be something that is explored, because at least in these episodes it hasn't explored too much yet. Well, it does hint at some stuff, it does show some stuff, so I'll let you discover that in the future episodes, but it does throw the idea of her past beyond the adventurers,
Right.
and some of the memories she has there. And I'm wondering if that's something that's going to be explored even further as a way to allow her to use her past memories even beyond that as a pillar to help her grow over some of the maybe disconnections that she has.
I'm really curious as to where this is gonna evolve into and how this is gonna. I feel like we're hitting on some like interesting theories here as to how this may go. Well, I mean, like, see that the two people in the opening, right? The two people that were shown in the opening. Forgot, like the guy
with the blue hair and the red hair boy.
Yeah, say that they go traveling with her, right? That they get together because she's looking out the window and these two characters are outside or whatever. Is this more of a this is my new group type of thing? This is the future? Or is this more like oh, this is another opportunity? Like I have to be the big, like, power dynamic. I have to be the big mama, the big sister, the big whatever.
I'm not going to answer anything because it actually gets explored in the next episode. But I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what you just said there. All I will say is maybe it's the other side of the coin of what you just said there.
Oh, Her mama, hey, big mama. Well, I mean, think about it this way.
What if she's so disorganized with her life because she's just so nonchalant about everything that she needs a mama?
You know what? Wait, how many years did the priest say that it would take for her to decipher the book? Like 5 or 6? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I'm looking forward to you actually watching the second episode. See, this is why talking about it after the first episode and then going into the second episode, because there's some really interesting things to talk about the first episode, but then the second episode is going to complement that even more. So very interested to see what you think of episode. I'm really impressed and really happy at the fact that they did all 4 episodes in one go. I think it was a good decision, because I feel like if it just ended with just episode 1, it would have felt very unfulfilling.
Right.
The fact that they've done it with 4 episodes, it really gives you some time to really learn a lot about the characters and build some deep, meaningful connections. And the fact this is going to be 6 months of episode releases, like week to week.
Oh man,
we got some massive journey to go through.
I was gonna say, I feel like we're gonna go through a massive journey together. We've already been through Moshiko Tensei journey together. Now we're going through this journey together. That's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be very unique as well, because we're both going into it blind. And I saw one person in the channel asking, "Am I going to read the manga?" No, I did think about it, but I decided not to because I really want to go into this blind. And because it's 6 months, it's like this is gonna be fun to go through blind.
Well, I think the fact that we're going in this blind and we're having this conversation, we're shooting these ideas at one another, like we're just letting it fester and grow and think, and wherever we go is wherever we go. And that's why I'm like, it's amazing. It's amazing. We're getting SP to be a full-on like wizard. I guess overall though, I will say this first episode blew me away. I did not expect that. And I think character dynamics wise, it's up there. It's up there with probably one of like one of the most powerful openings that I've seen in a show so far. Like just packed wise.
Yeah. I don't like ranking them on a ladder, but I would say this is on the higher tier of some of the animes. I'm very interested from it, and it's not like it's this flashy flashy animations or high quality budget behind it. It just feels something very simple, elegant, and meaningful. And I think that's what I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, chat, it is going to be a double core, no spaces in between the cores, 6 months of back-to-back episodes. So while we wait for Mushoku Tensei, we get this to fill the gap. So very much exceeded my expectations. Absolutely love it. And I'm interested to see how you enjoyed this next episode, because you're going to probably watch it right after this.
Maybe I'm thinking about it. But with that, guys on YouTube or whenever you watch this, hey, come and join us. That way you guys can ask us random questions to SP and I and tease us the way he's fucking teased me with the fucking rat for Moshiko Tensei, and that shit's been on my head. So come and join us and tease the living hell out of us in as many ways as possible, so you can get us to think harder about these characters and take us to new depths. Man, I'm excited. I love the fact that we're doing this together. Oh,
it's gonna be really awesome.
I think so. I'm so excited. But all right, guys, it is about to be 10 p.m. Whew. Also, yeah, YouTube.
You still got one more left in you?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering how much I have in the tank here. So I'm going to propose something. Well, first off, I got to say, YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button, go show some love and support to SP. We're going to do this like every episode whenever he's on or possible.